Was that the right one? That was the right one. What is good, ladies and gentlemen? How is your Saturday going thus far? It's your boy back at it again. This game looks cool. Anywho, Vertigo, all that. But also looks like a can't wait. It's one of those like ooh-wee. Boneworks hopefully has mod kit for it. Extravaganza. I digress. Also looks kind of loopy. Actually, these are different games. You're just cutting through all of them. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, hi. Today, we're going to be dissecting everything. We're going to be getting into all of it. It is New Year's Day, night, whatever. Night of New Year's. The day, night of New Year's. You know what I'm saying? Hi. Yeah. Just smashed my coffee. Now I'm feeling jittery. But what's good, Beastie? Beastie says, hey! For once, I'm here early. Let's go. Alone says hello. What's good, Alone? I always like to say hi back. Usually when I'm like, unless I'm really like, oh fuck, we're behind. I'm like, what's good? BC says, dare I say, even for not quite. Lone got it like 2 minutes ahead of you. Lone came in at 12:45 and said hello, and I said hi back. And you came in. I can't see the times. Why did it stop showing me the time? Well, regardless, no. We're close. So close. A fucking solid, brisk second place, alright? There's a lot of power in second place, alright? That's what they say in business, but yeah. Yeah. Lynn says, nope, not first. Lynn's like, come on, let's calm down, right? Beastie cries, no. Beastie says, yes, the wonderful day, night, yes, New Year's. I'll take second, let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, I think after the stream, maybe, I don't know, man. Ooh, I think after the stream, I wanted to try to make a Let's Talk about New Year's stuff, a little update video. And I thought maybe we could grind out thoughts on all of it here without making the other video redundant. Probably impossible, but we'll try. Yeah. What I wanted to ask you guys, and for love of God, please be generous with yourself, you fucking critical bastards, especially with oneself. What did you achieve this year? And please don't be like, nothing. You're fucking, yeah, I almost said some bad words there. You're incorrect. BC says, hell yeah. That's, what's y'all thoughts about, in the noggin, you beautiful bitch? What? What's your thoughts? What's in that noggin? I see. For me, Lone says, I have improved in my art this year. Yeah, well, I thought we'd be more specific, Lone. I can even talk a little bit about this from what you've told me. You've kicked some ass. You've made a huge stride, and not only, I feel like you got your job situation this year really locked down. You have a good pattern. I remember last year, I think you were interning a lot. You were interning a lot in the fucking heyday of COVID still, which is applaudable. Then you finally got this job currently. I think you moved out as well, or you're moved into a different location in a weird way. I'm not sure what all that is. You didn't specify, but My brain couldn't memorize all of it, but you did that. You also fucking kicked some ass, and you made a huge jump into art. You're going into digital art where you always did drawing, and now you're taking leaps into actually getting into buying a tablet and going into that, which seemed like it's amazing, and also like a huge bastion of success possibly when it comes to art, and things like that. I would love for you to get to a point, Lone, if you could achieve my own selfish goal, which don't do it, this is stupid, but I want to see what happens if somebody who is artistic and creative looks at AI generated art not as like some sort of soulless hatred nonsense, but instead uses it as a leverage point to get even more creative, like a tool set to pick and choose from various things, meld it together, fill in the gaps and the seams which the AI can't quite do, but utilize the time advantage that you gain from said art. I know it's tricky, and I think like learning that would be a skill in itself, because it's nothing is always identical. Like each thing that they make are pretty different, so you'd have to find a way to layer and all that stuff would be fun. Regardless, point being, Lone kicked some ass this year. Now y'all need to tell me more about what you do every day in order for me to have that bank vault of knowledge about you. Okay, yeah. Because I can only work with what I'm given. Essentially, I can only remember when people tell me. But no, Lone kicked some ass this year. I'm incredibly proud of how much he's achieved, and it's wonderful. Also, Beastie, I believe. Oh yeah, Beastie's such a I want to talk about you kind of person, which I like, but it's selfish. Tell me what's going on with you as well, or else I feel like I'm in a disbalanced relationship. Anyways. But I do believe Beastie, I don't know if you've had it for more than a year now, or if this was the year where you got that night shift job and you've been kicking ass with that. Because that sounds amazing. Or I think that's Beastie. Yeah. To be honest, I sometimes get Beastie and Bolty confused, but just because of the B in the beginning of the name, that's all it takes for my brain. But regardless, I think that's what Beastie did a lot this year. But Beastie, I want to know about you. What did you achieve this year? And for the love of God, do not do some bullshit where you're like I asked Lone, and he's like, I improved in art. I'm like, no, what are you doing? What are we doing? No, you did this, and this. That's all commendable. You should hold your chin up hella high. Tons of shit. Well, BZ says, holy shit, Lone, stepping up in the world. Congrats, you beautiful person. Beastie, don't you try to get the fuck away from me. What have you achieved? I wish I could do the same thing with you, but you don't tell me as much. You don't tell me. It's all every time we come together. It's like, what's good, my boy? And then it's like a nice, wholesome friend hangout thing, instead of you being like, hey, I'm going through it, and this is some bullshit. I'm like, I got it. Hit me with it. This is a fake game. This game does not exist. Sorry, whenever I see it, it's like, this is nothing. Everything about this screams, I don't want to know what it is, because it doesn't look real. It looks like the worst CGI of a fucking, that looked like a bunch of mush in those apples. Anyways, enough. Lone says, Grin, you don't even gotta ask. I was already looking into that. You measuring? I can't wait. Because to me, I think it'd be like difficult in a different way, but like you would catapult your, you have like a data set. And like an endless tool of usefulness. Now, granted, all these fucking AI generated things cost like a monthly service, but if you're like improving a lot and you're really wanting to develop that skill, I think it would be worth it. You know, this game looks great, by the way. Yes. Dude, I don't know why robots to me in AI seem so much better to fight. Humans a little too close to home. I don't know why. I'm really like Blade and Sorcerer. We're gonna have to kill that part of me. That's like a human face this close. Let's not obliterate it. By the way, I found a channel. Real quick pause so that BCD can write up all this shit. I found this channel that's it's not quite what I was hoping for with VR, but I found something similar. It's called Brutality. And it's a VR Brutality is what it's called, I think. And it's just this guy who goes around, and it's to me, it's nice when you see stuff like that, because you're like, okay, this is what someone's already doing and it's working for him. But it's a little too much to where like he's playing Bone Lab. I seen a video. The great content, by the way. I'm not criticizing it. It's just, to me, it makes me a little like, okay, there's a line here where it gets too excessive, where it's him like with a pickaxe and a gun, and he's just like stabbing into people and like climbing up them, and it's just like, it just seems a little much. And again, like, to me, my biggest thing is I want someone to feel like that was awesome what I just seen, and not that was a lot. You know, like, ugh, that was too much. You know, but that can also be equivalent sometimes. Sometimes things do get brutal, which is fine. But if the video is just brutality, I feel like it numbs you to what is those moments. Like if it's a storytelling arc, that's a thing. But yes, the narrator says, "Piz." What? What? Narrator, what did you achieve this year? And don't be cruel to yourself. Alright, let's catch up with BC. BC says, I am significantly less impressive. What? I did finally break my shitty cycle of getting paid below check consistently and managed to save a bit finally. Oh, wait, so I significantly less impressive, but no, it's not. Don't, again, guys, don't do this to yourself. It's tempting as hell. You're like a stone throw away from getting like New Year depression shit. Be happy that you did what you did and make it enough. I'm saying this because I am talking to me when I say this as well. So if you're fucked up, we can't be both fucked up in that way. It's toxic. We'll just keep shitting on each other, okay? Or we keep saying, I'm not good enough, no, you're not good enough, or we're both not good enough. We gotta stop. We gotta stop the cycle. I am breaking my shitty cycle of getting paid below checks. What does that mean? Someone's underpaying you? You're getting paid below checks consistently as I manage to save a bit finally. Okay, that's a big thing. Did you have to like what is it called? I heard people talk about it, but it's like you have to be less agreeable. You have to be like a person who's like, hey, I'm happy to be employed, but this is unacceptable, etc. Especially if you're able to show that you're bringing value to a company, then that actually really works. Yeah. Beastie says, also, last year's resolution was to master the guitar, which I failed at, but I can confidently play a few chords. So hell yeah, Beastie. I'm about to say, this is like New Year's expectations. To say you are gonna master something is excessive. Especially guitar, man. Guitar is one of those weird ones that seems like there's a skill ceiling of like you can become competent, but to become noticeably good is exceedingly hard. But it's also like the bell curve is this. You're okay, but to get to here, it's so much. It's like such a fucking grind just to get to that high. Also, I think it's one of those things where like when you start exercising, there's like an amount of fitness that people can tell through a shirt that you're somewhat okay. But then anything past that is for dudes and like bro dudes. So you just become like, the only reason why you're doing this is for other dudes' approval, essentially, which is hilarious. And hey, approval's approval, okay? Or a validation, I should say, is anything. Is worth it. But yeah, no, man, playing, it's funny you say that, Beastie. One of the things that I always hoped to do, and if I have a kid, I'm totally going to try to vicariously thrust this upon him, but I would love to be good at piano. I know it's so, like, of course, but I don't know, to me it just seems cathartic, and like, especially if you didn't go through it with like crazy expectations of like, you need to become great and all this stuff, but you just tried to have fun, which I think a lot of like pianists, etc., make it difficult on themselves almost. But yeah, maybe it is just innately brutal, but I don't know. To me, that was always one of the things that I wanted to learn. But that's like, a guitar you can get in for a bit. Piano is like minimum $1,000. And you're like, woof, shit. Even at Costco, I seen one that was like 600 and something, but it was kind of like bare bones. So I also think they made fun like pianos that have like a rhythm game, like Guitar Hero, I think, in them or something. Weird, but yeah, I think it'd be helpful to learn. Alone says AI generated art can be used as helpful tool and harmful. Yeah, I don't know, but man, the more I think about it, the more I know. It's maybe I feel like it's difficult because it's like maybe I'm not the person to talk to this in a big way, but my initial thought is I think it's a net wonderful thing. You know what I mean? And I don't like it's not to say that like it. Yeah, I can't honestly say that it's harmful. Yeah, I can't see it being any more harmful than another person who is competent in art looking at your art and extracting your style and what made it work and what made it popular and then monetizing that. Yeah, you know what I mean? Oh, I mean not harmful. Okay, I was about to say, because I was like, to me, I've heard that argument before where like the AI art is like the end of things, and I think, I don't know, I think it's like, in the worst case scenario, yes, but in the best case scenario, you could just be like, okay, this is a new tool that's came out in the next, because I think you have to do this. This is human evolution, I think, in a lot of ways. Human evolution has largely been, we've developed a new tool to make things more easy and viable for people. But there's still a proclivity or a skill ceiling on that tool usage. So you need to jump ship and get really good at understanding how to develop skill or tool usage faster than other people. Which is why I hate the school system so much, is because a lot of times it doesn't tell you how to learn or how to develop skill or how to independently achieve success within a new thing, whether that's 3D art, which I think a lot of you and a lot of people on the internet who grew up with the internet are getting better at, because it's just like, you literally just Google something and you look into it. You YouTube how to do something and you get obsessed. And you just keep doing that. Red's a fucking brilliant example of that as well, who just went buck wild onto how to mod, and he's more competent than a lot of the modders I've seen within a year span. Yeah, Red's made like freakish progression in like that. The narrator is very harmful to artists. Narrator says, it's very harmful to artists who work for big companies because they base everything on AI-generated art instead of artists' personal art. Random comment, but you're funky and cool. Oh, thank you. Thank you, narrator. Well, I'm curious, narrator. So what do you mean by that? It's very harmful to artists who work for big companies because they base... Oh, I see. So you're saying that like if you're an artist who works for giant companies, that's an interesting thing, because but to me that's also like people saying like, oh, you know, if truck drivers and factory workers are gonna get like aged out of by just like development of technology and whatnot. So I think it's like everyone's gonna get the shit kicked out of them. So you need to just again get good at developing skill and all these things. That's easier said than done. I'm not trying to be cruel in that way, but I will say one of the things to me is I thought about that a minute ago, where like I seen that there was something in the like Unreal Engine. And it, to me, seems really, really cool of like dev and game development becoming easier over time with AI generated things. Like I think it was a test pilot technology where they put this person in VR and they typed in stuff like a kitchen, and then the AI would start randomly generating like a 3D space and a kitchen, and then they would say collapse one of the walls or make the bottom of the ground eyes. And it did that. And it was really weird. Like the AI was clearly having problems, but it was improving. And the idea is that, okay, in the future, maybe, so it could be a lot, but maybe in the future, you'll be able to, game devs will be able to say, bench. And then put concrete bench with aged concrete bench, and then it'll just say that. And the 3D model of a bench will be developed, and it'll develop like 6 of those things. So in development and 3D design and things like that, and even maybe coding, maybe coding will live quite a bit, but all those things will basically just be a process of you understanding how a system is developed, so that therefore you can pick and choose and put these puzzle pieces into that said system. So instead of having to develop the puzzle piece, you just have to consolidate them in the best possible way imaginable, which to me is going to be funky. And then there's the people who think that eventually, one step further, you'll be able just to say, I want this type of game, an RPG with anime characters, with a bright cel-shaded world, with XYZ, and then the AI will just start creating content based on what everyone else liked who also search those same things. It's gonna be a crazy world. Sorry, also I seen that, right? Narrator. Lone says, piano is awesome. Like I saw a video of someone playing different anime openings, like the Attack on Titan opening. Yeah, man, there's a lot of ones like that where like, it just seems to me like I've said this beforehand. Also, I hate that damn border on the side of VR things. It's only on Steam, with the Valve Index. Anyways, sorry. To me, the piano stuff is really fun because I just think it's like the most beautiful instrument ever. You know, like I think guitar has this feeling of momentum and like badassness to it, but I don't know if there's anything more beautiful than piano. These just simple plucks, and it just sounds gorgeous. Yeah, like again, one of my favorite things is that. Sorry, that and the human voice is pretty comparable. Not necessarily like singing, but like opera singing and whatnot. Like, I'm not even sure if I'd say opera singing, but when multiple wonderful vocalists achieve resonance within certain frequencies as they sing, like kind of like church choirs kind of do this. That it's just gorgeous to me. Like those are the two things that I think are the most beautiful sounding things. Do, 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 do. Narrator says, the big company pay for the artist concept art, but the companies are using AI for concept art and removing the route of money for artists. Yeah, no, to me, it's weird because like I don't know what the future will hold in that way. That could be that'd be one of the first like takes on it that I've seen that actually might hold a lot of weight actually, which is that if the AI, well, yeah, I don't know, if the AI is all based around taking data sets from other art and like kind of extrapolating that, and like maybe in a year when like unfortunately art or whatever gets, in the worst case scenario, let's say it gets descaled by 20% because there's no money in it anymore and all these things. I don't think that's gonna happen, but let's just say that's the worst case scenario. It does. There's a net result of less art for the AI to pull from. I don't think that'll be the case because theoretically, this is the biggest argument for the AI being fine, is everything is an extrapolation on something that's come before. So theoretically, like taking all of the art uploaded to DeviantArt, to all of these places, to Google Images, everything, you have like 1,000 configurations of a thing to take interchangeable pieces from. It's kind of like how Borderlands gets the name of like a trillion guns or a billion guns, is because it just takes all of the parts and has a random chance of putting them all together. It doesn't. It's a lie. It's absolutely. It's like maybe like 100 or 500 guns or something, because everything has limitations. But anyways, yeah. To me, that's weird. That's a weird thing that I hope it's okay. I think it'll be. I think art will just change to be whoever can utilize that tool the best. And a lot of Photoshop people have also been doing that for a long time, where it's just like they don't really make art, they just kind of know how to tweak other people's creation enough to where they create something unique themselves. It's interesting, and yeah, but we'll have to see, man, because that's, I don't know, it could be tricky these next couple of years. Especially with like there's so many things that have just happened with like subsidies and stuff like that from like chips and all these things, and yeah. Also look at the cute little alien. Reminds me of that Netflix show that was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I know what it was called though. That's the problem probably. Lone says, I shall master the AI art. I can't wait. Especially when you can give. Where it gets really weird, Lone, is you can actually, in some of them, because I went down the rabbit hole of the AI art for a while there, because I thought it could help me make some thumbnails, and unfortunately I was not willing to pay like $1 for a monthly thing. I can't. Anyway, so I put an image of, you can like upload an image for the AI to build off of, which is nuts. So then you as an artist can still like make a template of something, and then build off of it. So you can do either or. You can like draw a little, put it into the machine, have it improve it, overlay or overlap on it. It seems like the main thing that artists already have an advantage over everyone else getting to this is layering. So you'll be able to layer things more cleverly. So you can either start with like a random prompt, it will give you a random thing, you'll pick out of the thousands that it gives you, or you can build it up from the ground up by giving it an image that you've already drawn, which is interesting. Although I do think the recognition of that image that you give it is still the most janky out of the lot. It kind of takes the idea, it tries to interpolate what that is, and then be like, okay, I'm in this, you know? But yeah, But also it seems like it's hilarious because the AI art to me seems like it follows the same pattern as like an artist, where the less input you give it, the better the product ends up looking. Like the more you let the artist just create art, the better the product ends up being. If you have too much oversight and you end up trying to lock it down too much, it kind of gets corrupted and gross, which is almost like an analogy for don't let the artist play in the medium that they want, which is fun. But yeah. I now am in a different mindset to talk. I was about to jump into like what I wanted to see if we could grind out this stream, but now I'm interested in you guys. So now I gotta try to get back to my headspace. Side thing I want to talk to you guys about in Darktide. Oh my God, golly gee willikers, is so fun. The Zealot. I cannot describe to you how it feels. Every other character feels. Every character is fine, but the Zealot is great. I can't describe how good it feels to flip your thing around. The only thing that the Zealot sucks at, and I think it's a me thing because I'm playing on a controller and no game knows how to fucking optimize for controller usage, but it's the B button. The slide in Darktide is awful for a controller user, sorry. When you slide, you basically are stuck in like mud and you can't get up and cancel it. So it'd be great to like slip and slide everywhere, stab some people, etc., all that stuff, but no. But no, you cannot. So shitty. But playing with the knife and you're just running around, it's just so fun, man. It's just so clean. I'm having a good time with that. Also, the hand cannon's good, but man, I was gonna complain to you guys about this when we were playing, but the hand cannon in Darktide is meant to be like, it's 5 shots, and it's super, super slow to reload. So it has a high damage, essentially. But, this is a huge but, there's like another weapon for I think it's the, one of the characters, that is like a giant blunderbuss scout rifle that has an impact round, and you have like 15 shots. So you literally just go ba-thunk, and like a bunch of enemies just get wiped. So if you get and it's also high damage. The only thing that sucks is when you pull it out, you have to like chamber a round, which doesn't make any sense because you have to keep chambering it every time you put it. Anyways, but regardless, I definitely think the hand cannon should be buffed. Also, its alternative fire for the hand cannon sucks. It's annoying. It's very annoying, but kind of cool in the sense that you can just whip it out and just bing and just knock somebody with this fucking giant meaty thing. That's a good conversation. Loans. I was gonna wait until we maybe get other people in here loan, but I'll pull the question multiple times, I guess. But ladies and gentlemen, for those guys who do not know, I did see Red. I'm maybe not confused, but yeah, about this. We're gonna continue to. We're basically playing one game every week with the expectation of us at least playing that for the first hour or 2 hours of the stream. And then if we have like bonus time, then we'll switch over to something I just wanted to play that day as well. Like we've been doing that with Darktide, which I was not expecting to do, by the way. I mentioned this beforehand, but I was really ready to put down Darktide because we're spread a little too thin. But then I played this out and I thought, this is so fun. I want to just play this with you guys. And also it's good to have a balance and a break. But anyways, the short of it is we're going to play one game every week. So I wanted to ask you guys what you would want to see when it comes to what we're going to play next week, for the entire week of that. We still have to play Bone Lab tomorrow, so that'll be fun. And I guess the things on the list right now for what we're going to play next, if anyone's like, I don't know what we're playing, what do you, I'm like, yeah. I guess the options would be Darktide, which would be fun to play for one whole week. Tower of Fantasy, which would be, we have a lot of catch up to do. So we don't want to do that too. We can always play that one as like our end of the stream VR, whatever, or just other thing, and then quickly jump on and play that. We'll see. And the other one is another VR game, which we could either play. I kind of want to. It's either between Blade and Sorcery or the Blade and Sorcery or Bone Lab. The tricky thing with that one, man, is that theoretically, the thing that I didn't want to have happen is slowly starting to happen, which is we have Bone Lab as a content source. We have Half-Life Alyx as a content source. And now we have the melee game, the Hell Split Arena, which I'm actually happy to jump ship. I'm kind of putting down Half-Life Alyx for a little bit, and then we're going to jump into Hell Split Arena for Live Die Repeat, which is fun. So now it's like 3 games that we're kind of playing VR-wise, which is it's fun when you limit your options because you have to be more creative in those games. So it feels good to do that. But what's a little tricky is like now we're adding maybe Bone Lab and Blade and Sorcery to that mix. So it kind of gets a little like, ooh, there's a lot. And it's not too bad. I could just adapt to it, I guess. It just, to me, it's nicer when you're on like the churn rate of content when there's like not a VR game out in a while, and you're like, holy shit, we guys have to make use of what we have. That's where a lot of creative things happen usually. But yeah, and it'd probably be smarter for me to get to Blade and Sorcery and Bone Lab sooner, because those are newer games that people are newer and heavily modded games, so it'd probably be smart for me to do that. But yeah. But yes, but also I kind of like, this is the other thing I want to talk to you guys about. We'll get to that in a minute. Yeah. Lone says, ooh, that sounds fun, but Grin with what game? The event on Tower Fantasy sucks. Man, I've actually been kind of bad with Tower Fantasy lately. I haven't actually developed too much stuff. Like I haven't done the raid, the thing essentially. But yeah, well, what do you guys want out of that list? Blade and Sorcery, Bone Lab, Dark Tide, Tower Fantasy. Those are the 4. What would you like to see for our main game we play next week? Lone says Blade and Sorcery. I think it's because I gave him the assignment to look up Blade and Sorcery mods. So I think he's excited to see what that game has, and he wants me to jump into it to get after it. Also, it's like a fun melee game with magic and whatnot, which I would like to do too. Just, man, it's like there's so much. As soon as we crack the lid on Skyrim 2, man, that's gonna be like a whole thing, because that game has like centuries of mods that we can all get into. So woof. But I don't mind seeing more Dark Tide. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to stack the deck in a weird way before I give my 2 cents. But we'll see. I'll chat to you guys. Because last time I did that, last time I was like, I think we should do, in my head, this makes sense. Bop, 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 bop. And you guys are like, that, yeah. Just do that. I'm like, okay. So I want to see what your guys' brains are at. And then I'll explain my perspective of what I think we should do. BC says, honestly, I want more VR. Okay, that's so good to hear, Beastie. I was worried there for a good bit, man. Because we were doing some streams, and I'm like, man, I really hope I'm not the only one who thinks the VR thing is pretty neat. I do think... Okay, so this is the other thing I want to tell you guys about. Yeah, I wanted to tell you guys about this because we did achieve something pretty cool this week. One of our, we did it. Also, by the way, just thought I'd mention this. This is another sweater. I have a dark green one. This is a light green one. The lighting it's not the same. I'm not wearing it for 5 days in a row. We're okay. I'm not a filthy bastard entirely. Anyway, my subconscious had to say that. But we did achieve something pretty cool this week. I got to test one of our modding things, kind of. I kind of did it last minute, sorry, because I had to quickly do. I want to try this week, and I was trying to edit An Ordinary Day, which I gotta stop making them like 17 minutes because they're just too long. They take too long to edit. Yeah, I need to improve, but in that regard. But regardless, that video is gonna hopefully be good. Well, long. You like what you like, and it's gonna be that. Anyways, calm down. Let's ground yourself a little bit. The thing we're going to try to do, or the thing we were trying to achieve this week, was one of our stream ideas, which was I wanted to see what a modded adventure would be, essentially, in our streams. Now, it turns out modding, I think it will get easier as I get into it, and I start to figure out what all the file names are and memorize them, etc. Then it's easier to set them up and easier to sequence them. I might have to actually pester Red, and Fluff uses the mod manager, but I think he probably still has some insight on how to exactly nail that. Anyways, but yeah, to develop that, to understand the whole modded adventure, I wanted to participate and see what happens with it. And I'm a little. So we did good. We did it. We did the thing that I wanted to see. But I do have a lot of things that we learned from the modding stream, which is one, I kind of had to quickly. I did it all that morning, which was not enough time. So I think it's best that, like, whilst I'm streaming, I'm downloading mods that I think would be fun for us to experience, because that was the one thing that to me was lacking. We had a gun mod, we had a visual body replacer mod for Boneworks, and we had what was the other one? Oh, and then we had like a weird NPC mod. But I didn't have like a map. I think if I had a map and I had a couple weird like models that or NPCs that I could summon into the world, that could get fun. We could do like who would win this crazy buffed out dude or like 15 Pikachus or some stupid shit. It can happen. And then we could verse them with us to see if we can overwhelm them. And then we could have like various stages of less items. Like, can we beat these overwhelming odds with a brick, with a tiny sword, with a sword and shield? Something. We could have fun with those things. But see, that's what I'm missing from those streams. So I just went into those modding streams as like, I downloaded 3 mods. Let's improv, baby. Didn't do a good job at improving, I don't think. I was kind of like, I feel like we're missing an objective, a thing to strive for. So yeah, Salone says, Brickchan returns. Yeah, hopefully. But yes, stuff like that would be an objective for the stream that to me helps my weird brain work. It helps me be like, okay, this is the premise of the stream. Because there's one time when we were streaming yesterday, I don't think a lot of you guys were actually in the stream at that point. But the person came in and said, man, this is really boring. And to me, in the back of my head, I'm like, yeah, I kind of just floating. Like, you know when you're hovering around, you're kind of like, I don't know really what to do here. I'm just kind of like doing things I want to do, and we happen to be doing some things with mods. But yeah, so to me in my head, I was like, I want to tell that guy, if we are, by the way, if you see this, I'm not upset. This is a good example. But what do you call it? It'd be cool to see in that example specifically. What is this? Sorry, that looks really weird, though, whatever that was. It distracted me. It would be really cool if we were having that objective, like, no, this is the kind of premise of this modded adventure that we're having on this stream. If you don't like it, then you should leave, because we're going to just keep doing this. So if you find this boring, go find a place that's not so boring. It'd be cool for me to say that, otherwise me being like, okay, I guess I got to try to do something more interesting. And I'm like, no, I feel weird doing that, you know? But regardless, we learned a lot was my takeaway. But to summarize that, we learned a lot from the VR stream. Learned what we need in order to make those, I think, happy. But I didn't want to do that thing where I think I had it happen before, where I told you guys all these ideas I had, and I was kind of like, well, turns out getting good at making one of those ideas bear fruit and like hit and like resonate is extremely a lot of attempts to try to have that happen. So maybe I shouldn't bombard you with ideas. We'll get to them eventually, but it's also like it's gonna take some time for me to understand shit. You know what I mean? BC says, honestly, I just want more VR content. My tiny goblin brain craves it. I love it. That's what I hope people feel, Beastie. Especially considering we did a stream previously with VR where I zoomed in to kind of make objects look more balanced out, like they look kind of big, I guess, because your eyes seeing that properly. But I rather you guys see more of the screen, so I pulled back the FOV again. So it's kind of looks, I don't think it looks warped, especially the way I do it. Like I try to bring the things really close to my face so that you can see them in bigger scale, and then when I pull them farther away, they get weirdly distorted, which I think is acceptable in this case. But yeah. Lone says, I wouldn't have even noticed your sweater if you didn't mention it, Grin. But looking at it, I can clearly tell that it's not the same one. Good. Okay, I also bought some clothes, by the way. I also bought these gray pants from Costco, which are fucking extremely soft. They were $15 for a pair of pants, okay? Massive. I'm tempted to go back and buy another 3 pairs just to work out in them, because they're that soft. And yes, I'll be honest, dude. Ever since I've been doing those, well, it's been a lot of stuff. It's been like the slam ball stuff and the this is a tangent. slam ball stuff and the giant sandbag, my legs have started to get really weirdly like vascular and shit, like where I can see the deviation of my muscular tissue in my knee and my thigh and my left thigh. Weird. But your boy doesn't like wearing shorts, so it's just like I'm a person who likes wearing pants, so my legs will forever be not seen. And I'm like, why couldn't that happen to any other part, you know? Maybe my chest. No one will see my chest too, but still, at least that'd be for me. I could see it more. I'm not sitting there looking at my legs in the mirror, you know what I mean? I don't do it with my chest, really. I do it with my shoulders. I like having the shoulder thing. That's cool. It's not a lot, but it's enough for me to be like, yes, dope as shit. Also, what was I gonna say? Oh, something about the VR thing. Oh, that made me dizzy. Oof. Let me have some coffee. Lone, as a person who has been delving into mods, what is the mod that you are most interested from Blade and Sorcery? What is if you could get me to play one mod, we're not doing it that soon. Eventually, we'll probably like 2 weeks away. We'll get to mods. But what is that one mod? Astroblade says, you have nice legs, Logan. You've got to appreciate your body. Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm just saying my legs, I will never see them. My whole point, I appreciate the sentiment. The only thing that doesn't make any sense, man, I got pretty big calves for absolutely not doing anything. I walk on my tippy toes forever. That's my whole thing, which describes some of it. But yeah, I do one exercise for my calves, which is we have a leg press machine, and I just do little bunces, little toe points, and my calf's like searing in pain. But that does plenty, apparently. It makes sense as a tiny muscle and all that stuff, but still. Also, Astroblade, what did you achieve this year? Also, I'd love to see it. We missed you, all that stuff. What did you achieve this year? Please, please, please be generous with yourself. God damn you guys. The DMC Virgil mod, is it actually? I think I clicked on it a little bit, and I was like, that's actually pretty comparable. Is it just a katana or what? Would it be? Sounds horrible. I'm sorry. I achieved. No, don't do that, Astroblade. That's bullshit. Don't do this to yourself. All right. If you do this to yourself, I'm gonna do this to myself. We're both gonna fucking emulators and just destroy ourselves. Okay? You did a lot. Think about it. Where were you 2 years ago, and what have you improved in the slightest way? God damn you! I know what you're gonna do. You're already typing it. Nothing, Grin. Fucking stop. Okay? Nothing, Grin. Please stop. Why is that accompanied by a monkey? Am I monkey or are you monkey? I'm fine with being monkey. Monkeys are dope. Also, monkeys are fucking yoked. They're also terrifying. You guys remember Sabumafu? I watched, man, that could be a fun stream we could do at some point. Just try to, like, stimulate nostalgia like crazy because, oof. That was weird. I remember half paying attention to that TV show, and I watched a person. It was Nanners. She uploaded a clip of it. Or no, it was Nathal Stan. Don't worry about it. Anyways, they uploaded a clip of it, and I was like, Jesus Christ. This, in some deep recess of my brain, I'm like, this is it. This was my shit. Some people had, what's the guy who is the treasure everyone loves in a bit? He's like the animal guy. He got stung by a fish or something and died. I can't think of it, but yeah, that was Zabumafu was my shit. That was my version of that in Canada. I don't know if that makes sense. Pieces of wholesomeness, awesomeness. We're both monkeys. Got it. Return to monkey. I got it. Hell yeah, monkey, bro. Steve Irwin, that's exactly what it is. Thank you, Beastie. Yeah. I know a lot. I think he's great. There's a reverence for him that I didn't get to experience. I wasn't privy to those things. And it's weird because, like, I don't know, man. Given your childhood, you can have access to things that are really old that don't really make sense. Like, I don't have that connection with him because I just don't think I was cognitively aware a lot at that time. But like I have memories of all the retro games like crazy, like Pong, because we used to spend a lot of time at my grandma's house, and she used to have old consoles that my brothers, or sorry, my dad used to play, his brother. And yeah, it's weird. So I have like a weird a lock in time type thing. How dare you disrespect the greatest, most wholesome animal? I'm not disrespecting. I'm saying he's great. I didn't get to experience those videos. Every time I see him, it seems like, oh, this makes sense. He's like such a positive, wholesome person. His son is doing great things. Yeah, I've seen people say that. It's the number one thing we see in any like meme thing about any of that. It's like in memory of this guy, and then they're like, his son's kicking ass too. I think the daughter's also doing great stuff. A lot of conservation and all that stuff, which is nice. Man, to me, the one thing that makes me genuinely worried, man, just like even if you're not getting into like weird studies and not weird, just studies and like other things, just ocean. Like I seen an image of the India's ocean when like they were bathing in it, and it just looked. Maybe it's just the climate, I don't know, but or like the environment that has the water be like brown and weird. No, we have Canadian lakes that look kind of grubby, but yeah, to me it was just that's one of the things that freaks me out. But like it's as far as conservation goes, the ocean, we gotta figure some shit out. That seems like a not good thing. Like people are talking about a lot of shit that freaks me out. What's good, superhero? What have you achieved this year? Hit me with it. If you guys don't know why I keep asking everyone this, is because I'm thinking about making a Let's Talk video where I just ramble at you guys about where we're at within me, as well as all that, year-wise, recap stuff, all that. So yeah. Superhero says, I'm doing great. How about you? I'm doing, I'm doing pretty good. We may talk about that in the at some point in the stream. But no, what did you achieve this year, superhero? And don't be mean with yourself. Against like Lone, I asked this about Lone. Lone said I improved in art, and I'm like, no, you did not. And then I explained to him all the things he's told me throughout this entire year that he's achieved. I'm like, you son of a bitch, you guys suck. Okay, you're as worse as me. A superhero says about you. Oh, I'm good. I'm good. Everything's normal, you know. Give me a sec. What do I want to talk to you guys about? Okay, what game should we play next? I'm just posing this to all of the chat. Should we play Blade and Sorcery, a VR game? Should we play Dark Tide for one whole week? By the way, that's the whole thing. Blade and Sorcery for one whole week, Dark Tide for one whole week, or Tower of Fantasy for one whole week? Hit me with it. What do you guys want? Yeah, and then I'll explain my rationale and see if I can move any of you guys. Although this is one of those questions that I ask, and people who are like, I don't know, Grown, I kind of just pop into the Saturday streams. I'm like, yep, I got, okay, yep. Learning from the modding stream I told you guys about. Yeah, we need to have an objective, and we need to have more mods probably, and also, it can't just be mods. It has to be like mods that enable us to have a fun time. Like, can you fucking strangle Pikachu or something, you know, and like actually fight a giant Pikachu and like smother him to death or something? We're gonna get demonetized so badly. Oh, by the way, that's the other thing I want to talk to you guys about. I just heard about this yesterday. Apparently, so this is weird inside baseball stuff, but maybe it'll be interesting to some of you guys. Basically, YouTube has always had a policy that's recent, and it seemed like it was pretty good, which was basically, if you swear within the first 30 minutes, because there's an advertiser that's just paid for the initial ad at the beginning of the YouTube video, you shouldn't cuss or say some sort of egregious shit at the very beginning of the thing, because it's kind of representing or following the brand that is advertising on the thing. So it's just a kind of a grace period for the brands, which to me, I think a lot of people could be like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. So just, yeah, try to be careful. If we can get away from being demonetized or what do you call it, all that stuff, awesome. And it's actually a very clear rule that's stated. So a lot of people are like, hey, this is at the very least nice to know what we should avoid if we want to get XYZ, which is nice. But, and this is a big but, recently they've done a change which is way more vague, and it's everyone hates vagueness. Twitch has it, YouTube has it, and this is the weird thing where people get confused about the rules, and it just seems like companies, like, it's hilarious because there's plenty of examples that show that people will fall in line. Like, arguably, you could always be demonetized, make less capital or value on the video, potentially get suppressed, it's an arguable thing, but you could do it. But because they just said, you're gonna make slightly less money on this video, or if significant less money on this video, if you want to swear, if you want to say all of these things, whatever, you can do that. But a lot of people, just with that understanding, will slowly stop doing things. It's almost like a slight push, like just saying, you probably want to stay away from this area because we're already not sure about it, and if you're close here, you're going to get in the splash radius and you can just get destroyed. So best not to do that. But it's a very clear rule. So people are like, okay, I should start moving my content away from that, which is nice. The issue is that when a company doesn't like specific thing, or when a advertiser says this is egregious because maybe Twitter or maybe Facebook or whatever says that this is unacceptable, that they can be like, we need to get rid of this now, even if there's no rule about it, because we need something vague enough that we can quickly blanket over this. And if they don't have that, then they just have the rule. Then a person can just say, I'm not breaking any rules. And I'll be honest, human beings are shitty. There's a perspective of this for the company. There's a perspective of this from the user. Users can be equally as scummy and shitty and like literally push the boundary at the maximum point that they can. This frustrates me immensely when I see people do this. I'm all about, like, I like the idea of redlining or like understanding where the boundary is, but I don't like the idea when people just clearly are like edging the complete what is okay and what is not okay. To me, that's like disrespectful for a person who's clearly trying to avoid something happening. You're like trying to almost have it happen without you being responsible for it happening. Weird. Anyways, YouTube, I'll just cut to the chase. YouTube is implementing something that is basically, you cannot swear within the first 8 seconds of the video. You can't say things like fuck. You can't say things like shit. You can't say any of those things in the beginning of the video. I don't even think you can do anything else. I think the only thing that's kind of protected is slightly less words, but I think that was the whole point of this, was that what made it so crazy was that words like hell, words like shit or damn, words like come over here, the AI could perceive the word come and be like, oh, that's disgusting, and yeah, so it's this weird thing. But the thing that makes everyone freaked out is none of the previous videos that you've made are getting grandfathered in, apparently. I think they're going to change this because this just doesn't make any sense. Like, you'll have everyone all at once just be like, I'm making X% of money, and then they're like, what the fuck? And it's funny because I don't know if the advertisers asked for this. Like, I think people were pretty reasonably okay with it. Like, okay, 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds of, like, don't be a dick, be pretty careful, and then you can go off if you want. Just give us a grace period of, like, distance between us talking about, like, Huggies or some shit for kids' underwear or grown men's underwear, whatever it be, and then being like, hey, like, keep the gratuity at bay. Anyways, it's weird, it's worrisome. What you guys will experience probably is I don't think you're allowed anything. The way the person who told me about this made it sound was that everything is off the limits, essentially. So, like, if you're gonna say, I'm not even sure if you'll see bleeps anymore. Like, I think bleeps are also not allowed. So you will not hear anybody say anything risque. So I don't know, man. It's a little worrisome. I think you'll just basically see everyone on YouTube become extremely quiet when it comes to swearing. And yeah, to me, I don't know. It's like YouTube used to be a reflection of how people are. It's the you. And the fact that you can't even articulate a part of yourself. I'm all for, like, maybe there's an egregious level of cussing that could be perceived as disrespectful, but isn't that on you as a user or as a viewer to determine whether that is good enough for you or not? And YouTube has counters to this, of course, where there can be like, my guy, you basically, you can have YouTube Red and basically get, like, way more value out of that. You get no ads and you get massive support. And there's probably going to be a lot of people asking you to go to Patreon and etc., which is not a bad thing, by the way. It's like it's just people trying to continue to produce what they want to produce, which viewers have apparently liked, whilst not sacrificing their financial security, I guess. A little inside baseball. Don't know if you guys would have much thing to talk about it, much pushback. But yeah, I worry a little bit from what YouTube will look like, if it's going to be overly, what's the point of having YouTube Kids if YouTube itself is just going to become YouTube Kids, you know? It's weird. And people keep saying there's like, all we need is a competitor to YouTube, and I'm like, I mean, at this point, man, I don't know. Maybe an AI tool develop something that's like giga overpowered, renders videos faster, is a better social media, has a better AI that can tell what you want, maybe. But uh, how dare you disrespect? Oh, they sent to great work. Superhero says, Tower Fantasy says superhero. Okay, it's Tower Fantasy. I see. Astral Blade says, I vote for Sword and Sorcery. Okay, so we got a lot of votes for Sword and Sorcery and none for the Dark Tide. Well, what do you call it? Lone is a little bit like, Rip Aliens. The Alien game? Yeah, man, right? I don't know. I seen that thing and I thought that looked like shit. Aliens can't catch a break, but I don't know why so many games are like trying to use Aliens Colonial Marines or Aliens franchise to make a video game. Like, it is. I'm sorry, man. That is not it. Like, make a brand new IP, something. Like, to me, the Aliens is just does not. It's like the last thing I thought would be good to have in a video game, if that makes any sense. BC said, like, I think Aliens is a good franchise. I just don't know why it would be a decent, what is it called? Game. BC says, it's so weird. YouTube has, the kids app. Yeah, exactly. I wish I would have seen that before I said it. I'll give you credit. What's the difference between normal YouTube and YouTube Kids? Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of creators suffering from it right now. From it, RT Games is having a really hard time. What's RT Games? RT Games having a really hard time since the new change affects their older videos. Yeah, man. To me, that's the biggest. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, any sense. The idea that, like, they're not giving their creators enough time to adapt, and it sucks because, like, YouTube is doing really good actually. Like, I don't know, man. It just sucks. It just sucks. Like, Twitch is making a bunch of shitty choices. I think, not to be a negative bastard, but they're making a bunch of rough choices. YouTube was doing pretty good there for a while. They were implementing changes to their streaming service slowly, but it was happening. They've still yet to give us the like directory that everyone wants, which is like YouTube treats streaming like nothing. Like it's not built into the system. Its shorts are like immediately just leap by streaming, which we get. You know, TikTok's important and valuable, but Jesus Christ, like, come on, man, throw the, at least let us be appear and suggested. And usually it doesn't unless you're like subscribed and you have liked the previous streams, and it's just rough. It's also like the whole idea of YouTube was supposed to be able to tap into the algorithm of YouTube, which is infinitely better than Twitch. Twitch is like, you go to a directory, you look and see, and you if you want a Twitch streaming thing, you have to build it somewhere else. You have to like do something else. Which I was gonna run this by you guys, by the way. As much as because YouTube finally added the ability to filter, at least on your channel page, shorts. We might put some shorts, some stream highlights of the VR goofiness in the Grin channel, just to see how that be. Not the shorts channel that we made, just the Grin channel. I will just upload some shorts there, maybe. I don't know yet. I wanted to do it because people say that it's a very good way to expand your horizon and to get other people in it. If we're having a fun time in VR, it'd be cool to show people like, hey, this is where the fun time in VR is going to be, you know? Because so maybe expect that on the horizon. It's a lot more to manage, but we'll see if I can find some time and find some cool clips of what we get up to in VR. Ashblade says, Dark Tide is a good game. I've just been watching streamers play it for a week right now. Ashblade, I totally get it. Have you seen, you probably have you seen the Zealot playstyle with the combat knife? I totally get it if everyone's probably been using it, so that's probably the one you've seen the most of. But by far, man, it's the funnest version of Dark Tide to see. It's funny because I didn't even have to mention it, and Lone was like, actually, it kind of is cool, and I'm not even good at it. I'm not even good about like sprinting in between people and like stabbing them, but it's just so fast, and like if you ever seen the CS:GO like flipping knives and shit, it's just so satisfying. Yeah, maybe it's not. If you've seen too much CS:GO, then you're like, this is annoying. But to me, who hasn't, it's nice. Also, you have so much speed that you're just like a little speed demon, which is fun. Again, man, Zealot to me is like the one class that to me seems genuinely optimized, but he's very selfish. He's very much like a melee class. But yeah, it's like it's night and day. If you're playing Ulgrin, Ulgrin seems like a kind of a mess, if I'm honest. I think it's a fun playstyle, but man, Ogren's in a rough place. Whereas Zealot has like incredible bleed, incredible movement, incredible skills. That like one of his capstone is insane. One of his capstones is insane. It's whenever you get a melee hit, you have a chance of shaving off a second of your cooldown for your ability that gives you back 50 shield and a critical chance. So you're basically just like at the drop of a hat, you're able to like melee, use your thing, get a shit ton of shield, and then just keep meleeing, and then you have your ability back. Like you can just spam the shit of your ability and like jump in between enemies, which is just seems so good and so fun. It's nuts. To me, I'm like it's amazing. But it's also arguably the melee class. Maybe the ranger is equally as nuts. I hear people say it's one of the best classes is the ranger. But yeah. Lone says, what even happened? It's there. Yeah, it's there. It was one of those things where to me, man, how do I phrase this the best way possible to where I can make it make sense? At that time, I had a huge mental block about daily uploading, where like I did it for 5 years at the time, or even more, I think, at that point. So it was in my head that like I needed to keep uploading a lot. Like I needed to do that. That was something that you needed to do. So managing uploading every day, trying to create content that was like searchable and interesting, and on a game that was heavily overpopulated with other content creators, Genshin Impact, it just left me like I couldn't even do that. Now, I think I could pursue the stream thing because I've kind of abandoned the daily upload for a good video. I want to make a good video that has a good point, and if a person found the Mind Palace of Madness channel, they could binge the previous videos, and each one would be good in their own right. That's the hope, at least. That's how I feel about the channel Assassin Stealth Gamer is what his name is. Where I feel like I when I found his channel, I went back and watched older videos, I went and watched his newer videos, and it was great. Like, it was just like all of his videos reached a certain level of interest that nobody really was doing at the time, that to me made it valuable. Also, by the way, I made a call to do on the Brothers Grin channel, or sorry, not the Brothers Grin channel, the Mind Palace of Madness channel, to do story, like to imbue story in some ways into the video. And after finding that brutal VR channel that I found, I'm happy I did that, because his is very much no story, no commentary, just violence, basically. Which is good if you're into that, if you want to see something brutal. But for me, I like the idea of like there's a subliminal interest about wanting to see the next video, because the previous video showed you where we're going next. And if you're watching gunplay, and then the next realm we go to, the next incarnation we go to is a melee game, that'd be interesting. I want to see how this person perfects a melee game, how this person finds the most crazy ways to kill them in a melee game. Puts a lot of pressure on me, but hopefully I can deliver. Alone says, whatever happened to your short channel yet? But yeah, the point is that I couldn't really manage the short channel on top of my perspective of how I was making content, basically. So I think with me being like, like, that was the other thing I want to talk to you guys about. I feel like right before the God of War stream, I was starting to develop a perspective of streams of like, maybe it's okay that one of the stream days we don't stream if it means I can prep for a better, funner stream. And then we did the God of War stream, and a lot of people showed up anyway. And yeah, but I think that's different, because I think the God of War stream, you have an innate interest that we're all bought into. Just doing like, here's another Tower Fantasy stream works if people just want to have you on in the background while they're also grinding Tower Fantasy, which is like long form streams, like 5 hours. People will find you and be like, oh, okay, I'll put this on while I'm grinding. But I can't, otherwise I think you do need to generate a specific activity to do while streaming. I think either that, or you're so successful you can have employees that do stuff for you so that you can focus solely on that. Makes any sense? Tricky to say, but yeah. But yeah, I'm not sure what's best. I think I got to figure out the rhythm of how much you need to do. I guess hard to say. Like, what is the right medium of like? Do you go try to stream as much as you possibly can, or do you try to develop a stream that is interesting for people to find and experience? I think both are valuable and both can be used. You know. Do, 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 BC says RT Games is a pretty big Irish creator with 2.75 million subs. His best of 2020 videos have gotten age restricted, which is weird since he's pretty tame. Yeah, man. Well, that's the other thing that people are saying is that like this is insane because they're not saying specific words. You know, they're not saying like when you say the F word, that yeah, and like an AI can hear the F word 1,000 times and understand like that's the F word. But if you say something like "come over here" and the AI perceives the word "come" as like gratuitous or whatever, then yeah, like to me it's weird. And then it's the weirder thing is that they don't specify like a level of harshness. So like say the S word on Twitch. Please don't spam it in the chat, but it's what people used to call people who used to donate to female Twitch streamers who did like hot tub streams. It starts with an S, ends with an imp. Anyways, point being, is there was a big hubbub about this. So if they can, that's what worries me a little bit about like such a weird, yeah, sure, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. To me, the fact that a company can like manage that's weird. That's really strange. Like if they have a level of like this is harsh, you know, if they want to outlaw the word, it's a negative word for a woman or a promiscuous person. It starts with S, ends with lut. That to me, I kind of get by because there's a level of harshness that could be associated with. But the word shrimp, like I don't understand. It's psychotic, you know. So the fact they don't specify that worries me because then it's just up for debate of like what they don't want people to do. And I get it because from a company standpoint, like I don't think anyone's evil here. I think from a company standpoint, they're just trying to make sure they're protecting themselves. Like they're trying to say, they're trying to basically make it so that people who, if like an advertiser comes to them, or if there's like a hubbub on Twitter who it says like, maybe there's like a horrible act that takes place in the real world, like maybe someone shoots up I'm not going to say that example, but hurts a person who has a specific career, maybe an OnlyFans person or something horrible, and then people use this to catapult a Twitter campaign that says anyone who uses this specific language, i.e. shrimp or whatever, this is considered to be hateful, this is considered to be problematic, cruel, etc. Then a company like YouTube will see that, advertisers will see that, YouTube will see the advertiser react, and then YouTube will have to make a stand. So therefore, they don't want to specify what thing is. YouTube is just in a survival state, which I get, but it's horrible to create content for, and it makes it really easy to get pushed past if there's competition, which YouTube damn well knows there's not, which is shitty. So yeah, but yeah, thank you for letting me ramble about that, BC. Astroblade says clowns, yeah, or like monkeys. Yeah, clowns. What's good, Red? Red says, hey, Red, what's good, Red? Red, what game do you want us to cover next week? We got Blade and Sorcery, we got Dark Tide, we got Tower of Fantasy, and again, we'll always have the possibility to play something at the end of the stream, but this is the one thing that will dedicate minimum an hour to, probably 2 hours to grinding, but we might spend like 30 minutes, like we have been, jumping into Dark Tide, or Tower Fantasy, or whatever we kind of decide on, and all that kind of stuff. But yes, but ladies and gentlemen, also, Red, what did you achieve this year? And be generous with yourself, god damn it. Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta use the washroom, so talk, reply to me. Oh, my body. golly, I just fucking chucked a bunch of shit right while I left. It's like, alright, bye. I'll be right back. Oh. Did I tell you guys how much I like this tea? By the way, guys, I'm in. So if those guys you do not know, thank you for the hydrate. For those guys you do not know, I was talking up this tea for a while. I said, fuck you, I'm buying it. Don't know why I was so hostile towards you guys, but I bought it. I can talk to you guys so much about it. I was like, Anyway, I have it. I'm drinking it. It's great. But it has this like strong bitter taste to it. Basically, it's kind of like very tea based or very like spinach. You know how it has that bitter punch almost, like vegetable punch. It's not quite bitter like when you have coffee bitter, but it's just something. But people talked about how this tea, there's a lot of reasons why I got into it, but one of the reasons is it helps repair your dopamine receptors, essentially. So if you have coffee a lot, if you have anything, if you play video games a lot, your dopamine is constantly getting flushed. It helps repair those signals, essentially, so that you can have them be stronger and I think not wear out. Because if you constantly are filled with dopamine, you constantly have coffee, getting stimulated, those receptors get burnt out almost, so that helps recover them. I was like, okay, this is great. I'll have that with my coffee and I'll be fine. But people talked about because of that relationship with it, people oftentimes drink it and they think this is kind of gross. I don't want to drink it. But if you continue to drink it, your brain will realize what it's doing. And just like exercise, it will basically tell you like, no, this is good. Keep doing this. We want more of this. So then it'll change the negative response and actually you'll change your taste buds to have you enjoy this. And I'm there. It took 2 weeks. 2 weeks to be like, this is delicious now. But yeah, and it's also weird. I got worried because it has like a slight smoky taste, a little bit. I looked up, people said it was carcinogenic, it was cancerous, all that stuff. It's just you can't have boiled water. You can't drink hot things or else you'll have a chance of having throat cancer. And I was like, eesh. But yeah, anyway, sorry. So much stuff. Red says Tower of Fantasy. Okay, so we got 2 for Tower of Fantasy, 3 or 4 for Blade and Sorcery. Red says achieve modding. I'll give you a minute. I'll come back to that. Other than learning 3D modeling and making mods, nothing else has changed in my life. You guys are fucked up. Red, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, Red? You've achieved so much. Don't sum up what you've done in such a horrible, unhelpful way. Or prideful way. Again, not pride, what's the word? You're not giving yourself enough credit, basically. The fact that you, in 1 year, have to me, eclipsed what I've seen 90% of modders be able to achieve. I've seen modders that can do house mods. I've seen modders that can do retextures for skins and whatnot. I've seen a bunch of modders. I have not seen someone in a year get so obsessed, beautifully so, with the act of modding and creating things and coding and video game development and in a small subsect of whatever that be, so hard as you. You've developed 3D modeling. You've been able to develop physics for those said bodies, and you've been able to do that, and also already within a year span, start to develop a pool of knowledge in which you can actually create something within a video game, which is nuts. It is incredibly commendable and should have taken like 3 years, but instead it seemed like it took you 9 months, which is fucking awesome. That is incredible. You should give yourself a goddamn round of applause, and that's amazing. That is not just, I learned a little bit of modding. No, you exceeded a lot of expectations. I've been in the modding community for a long time. I got into it in Skyrim, took a little break, but that's obsessively crazy. All right, well fucking done. BC says, hell yes, that big modding seems like a lot for a small bit. I say, yeah, no, it's insane. Outside of like the funny aspect of it, which is it's oftentimes Haruda stuff, but that's just humorous. but hey, that's even better because that's what people want. You know what I mean? What is this game? I feel like that's the game I've seen where an AI generates random worlds for you, and that's why it looks so cursed. Anyways. Other than that, 3D modeling is it. Life hasn't changed. Also, I don't know if it hasn't changed. I think you, like, again, the thing that you've done isn't something like, oh, I've learned something. It's like, no, you've learned to me, a critical skill that you could take in 1,000 directions with whatever you choose. If you wanted to pursue this for monetary gain, you could. If you wanted to pursue this and be a part of like People who do sky living or something crazy, you could. If you wanted to do so many things, you damn well could. So it's not just like you didn't just develop a little cute thing. You developed an actual metric that could be scaled, which is crazy and should be commended. Where's the thing? Astroblade says, which tea is that? I might need to get some. Try it, Astroblade. It's called yerba mate tea. Yerba mate tea. I would also suggest getting it in bulk because otherwise you're getting wrecked. It's like $30 for like 2 pounds of tea, which is nuts. It's also, I don't know, I really like it, man. It tastes, it's got a really weird, like people say that it tastes bitter. It does not. It's a very strange taste. Not even strange taste. It's not even, it's familiar but not bad. It was enough for me to not, like, people were comparing that to coffee, and oh my god, are they high. They're like completely insane. Coffee has a punch, like a punch. This has like a slight nibble maybe, like a little bit of a tingle on your tongue that makes you feel like oh, that's got also it's caffeinated, by the way, just to let you know, Astroblade. It's very caffeinated. It's I think it's the highest caffeinated tea that exists. There may be one other one, but I think it's because it's mixed with berries, which is like a super caffeinated berry, but it's not even that caffeine. It's like that is at 90 and this is at 80. A coffee cup is at I think anywhere from 80 to 100. But yeah. It also depends on how you cook the tea. If you like steep it really lot, then it'll have a really strong cup of tea that's very caffeinated. But yes, I don't. The bad news is that if you don't like the caffeinated aspect of it, I don't think there's a yerba mate that doesn't have caffeine in it, so it's intrinsic within the tea leaf, I guess. But if Red says it is beastie. Granted, I'm not at the level of creating models from scratch, only altering existing models, but I do learn new things. Whichever mods I make. Yeah, I know, but again, it's not even just that, Red. It's just like, to me, this is the thing that we're kind of talking about. And this is, to me, I think the important thing to learn. And this is me getting on my high horse a little bit, maybe speculating about the future. But I think that's going to become more the case. I think with the AI weirdness, with all that stuff, I think life and human evolution is mainly about how good you can utilize a tool. And there's always going to be new tools that are coming out, and you should never be hurt by those said tools, but instead try to maximize those tools to your advantage as best you can, because that's always how value is generated, is who is the most efficient at doing XYZ, or who is the most efficient at using the tool. And that's the thing that's scaled. So to me, the fact that you're utilizing like other 3D models and bringing them into a community that is interested in those models is interesting. Also, it stands out like a lot, like the idea that you brought an anime character into Elden Ring, like a Tower of Fantasy character into Elden Ring, and gave it like weird jiggle physics, etc. I say weird, not weird, accurate, generous jiggle physics. That's an incredible thing for multiple reasons. Just being aware to do something, yeah. Astroblade says, you can't drink tea hot or you'll get cans. It's one of the weirder things, man. I don't think it's marginable. I don't think it's excessive, which is weird because there's a lot of studies that show like if you drink antioxidant stuff, something that's high in antioxidants, you'll lower your risk in cancer. Green tea matcha is that. This has more yerba mate tea has more antioxidant than matcha, which has like 50% more than green tea, and I could ramble at you about this tea forever, Astroblade. It also has a shit ton of vitamins, so if you're a person that doesn't really eat a lot of diverse food, it has a fuck ton of vitamins in it, and weird ones like zinc and shit that you normally would have to go out of your way to eat, outside of bananas, I guess, but yeah. It has that. The reason why I got into it though, man, is because of the coffee, but also because it has two things. It's slow releasing, so it keeps you focused for longer and has no perceived crash, and it helps with digestive stuff. For me, I have very bad digestion. I oftentimes, whenever I eat, my brain is cooked. Like it takes such a massive amount of work for my body to break down food to where my brain, it just like, it has no juice anymore. That's helped immensely with it. It's helped, also they say if you If you want to lose weight, drink the tea because it helps you feel full, as well as it helps you process greasy foods because it has another chemical in it that balances out carbs and fat. Also, it's good for working out. That's what they also talked about, which like they gave it to a bunch of athletes and for whatever reason, I think it's because of the way that it handles the fat cells. It almost helps you burn them faster or something weird like that. There's a lot there. I read a lot of articles from it, but yeah. I didn't just say, fuck it, let me just try this tea. It was like, no, this is so good that I think I should do it. I think it'll improve my life. And thus far, weirdest thing, it helped with my sleep. And it's really caffeinated. And I drink this thing at 7 p.m. And I feel like it's helped with my sleep, which doesn't make any sense. I actually tracked it did. But it could have just been timing. But yeah, it's weird. But yeah, it's about the cancer thing. It's specifically, there was a study that they showed where, and I think it might have been skewed in a weird way, but like they took people who were smoking cigarettes and technically having drinking hot tea, and it increased their chance of throat cancer, which to me kind of makes sense. If you were to drink hot tea, you build up scar tissue and wounds in your throat because of the searing burns, and then you smoke, it could infect your lungs more. I think that might have been the study, but also people just say, just to be careful, do not boil your water. You can have a pretty hot/warm water and be fine, but just not like scalding hot to where it'll burn your tongue basically, or even your throat, which you shouldn't be drinking fucking boiling hot water anyway that has that level of effect. But a lot of people in Canada, specifically with Tim Hortons, enjoy really hot fucking coffee, which I think is less of like a cancer thing. It's just like you're damaging your throat tissue, and therefore damaged tissue has a high proclivity to generate into cancer cells, I believe. But I'm on my depth. I'm on my depth here. Grid beating us over the head with pure friggin' wholesome. I don't think it's wholesomeness, guys. I think it's genuinely something that you should be proud of. I think a lot of times people can fall into this gap of like, whenever I get to the end of the year, and I talk to this because this is how I feel. Whenever I get to the end of the year, I oftentimes feel like I didn't do enough. I feel like there's this gloominess around achievement. And I think oftentimes it gets better if you look at the previous 2 years that you just experienced. How far did I come in the last 2 years that I've been doing this stuff, or that I've been trying to get better? And then you'll give yourself a lot more credit and be like, yeah, I didn't know this, that, or the other thing. I've improved in this way. I used to have this bad habit that I've somehow circumnavigated. I made this friend. I got out of the house more. Like, you need to do that, or else you'll feel like a fucking failure and you won't actually move. Like the biggest lie of depression is that, or like sorrow, is that it stalls you out even more. Whereas you're like, no, I'm doing good. I'm doing real fucking good. That keeps you moving. It keeps you feeling like I can achieve more and more and more. But if you never account for your own success, then you're always going to believe you can't handle things. You're never going to believe you can do the things that you want to do. So it's incredibly paramount to try to acknowledge when you did do something impressive, when you did have that, and to also surround yourselves with people who can acknowledge that, because sometimes you can't, or you're too in your head about shit. And yeah. I don't know if I'm not trying to be wholesome, I'm trying to be honest. I'm trying to hold you guys to the level in which I think you should hopefully perceive in some way yourself. Lone says Grin is really into RG. I am. I try to keep track of shit like that. I think it matters. I think it matters because I think you, if you don't acknowledge what you're capable of, you'll constantly sell yourself short, and you'll constantly end up going down and not up. So I think it's important to acknowledge the success in others and the achievement in others. Ashblade says, don't listen to this man, Red. He doesn't even wear shoes. Hey, what's this? This is a shoe? Slipper? I can't, I'll just show you. Look at this. Look at this cute little like weird moccasin that I got for Christmas, alright? I'll say this thing does not fit. I'm like, what? This is so weird, because it's like my foot is here, and then it just has a pad thing on it, you know? I can't, actually, you know what was dope as shit? This is side tangent. Yeah. This is side tangent. God damn, I get my thing on my foot. It's also cold, that's what I'm wearing. These things are the shit, dude. This is like a sock slipper thing, and it's got like wool inside. It's the best. Also, I don't know, I like boots, so I like something that grabs my calf, essentially, instead of just like a slipper thing. But yeah, gotcha, bitch. Didn't think that about that, Astro Blade. Thought I was out here. Is that because I do my push-ups so you can see my feet, you weirdo? I don't know. Red says, I mean, I've not, or is that because I said I exercise barefoot? I don't know. You're pulling from a long day. We've known each other for too long. But Red says, I mean, I have not actually created a new things, only using existing assets, either from the game or from other sources for modding, and then using the tools I have to repurpose them. Yeah, but you're still also, you've created value for others, so it doesn't matter the way in which you've done it. If you're able to create something that didn't exist before, it doesn't matter if you're using 1,000 other things that are building off of the back of other things. That's incredible. That you've been able to, people have come to you and asked you for something, and you've been able to give them that thing that hasn't existed before. Maybe you use 3D models that exist in other things. Maybe use the Unreal Engine to help you with assets, whatever it could be. It doesn't matter the fact that you were able to consolidate something together. And that is an achievement. That is incredible. Also, you've been at this for fucking like 9 months or something. That's the insane part about it. Most people need like fucking 9 months of struggle. And I'm absolutely saying you struggled. Sorry, but people need 9 months of struggle and then they kind of yield something. The fact that you've been able to like put up with the pain of actually creating something and like developing something, and then doing that so much and then learning as you go is incredible. B says, Grin streams give me that nice boot. I need to finish out the week. Thanks. Again, not an intention, not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to gas you guys up. I'm trying to honestly acknowledge the things you've achieved. Red says, physics, for example. I'm only repurposing existing physics from the games to use from something else, like taking clothes physics and repurposing. Yeah, but everyone in development would do that. The only thing I think that they would maybe do differently is scale them, so like adjust them slightly. I don't think you ever rebuild anything, because that's nuts. You're rebuilding something from scratch? That's crazy. BZ says, adding physics where it matters. Man doing the Lord's work out here. Red says, I want to do custom physics, but the only way to do that for Elden Ring is to download the Havok physics software legally. Not something I'm willing to really. I don't know, Red. I know it might be expensive, but I feel like, I don't know. To me, oftentimes I think that, yeah. To me, when like tools are excluded from people, that's where it gets weird to me. I don't like that, especially when it's not. There's no reasonable reason for why it has to be that way. Like, again, the argument for why a downloadable content, or sorry, like downloading a game off of Steam is the same amount as buying a hard copy of a disc is kind of insane. Now, granted, discs are not that much money and all these things, and they just, yeah. But still, it's one of those things where like this doesn't need to be this price on Steam, but they just do it because. So that always weirds me out. So especially with software, especially when software is disabling people from creating things, to me is, yeah. Like, I think it's nice to the idea of like, I'm going to use this tool, develop my skill set around it, and then if I'm able to gain enough capital to where then I'm able to pay for it as kind of an homage to doing right. That's what I do with my editing software. I had the pirated version of Sony Vegas Pro for such a long time, and then I eventually bought this software. Horrible idea. It was $800. It was more than that, actually. $650. Insane. And it constantly crashes. It's an entire piece of shit. It's horrible. It's the worst I can describe. At least with Premiere, I could have just taken all that money and had a membership with Premiere, and I had like 3 years worth of a membership. At least I would have gotten current updates. Like Sony Vegas 14 is out, and I have the old version, and I can't upgrade. It's just awful, horrible thing. This is why I'm also bitter about my whole experience. I tried to do the right thing, pay it forward, absolute shit show, not work. And now all my tools are on this new thing. Eventually, I do want to jump ship to another editing software, but goddamn, I need to make enough money on like content creation to be able to validate that. Alon says, cultured is the word you want to use. It is. Cultured is a good way to put it. Although culture would describe it. Sag, but understandable. However, for Resident Evil Engine, the Unreal Engine games, I can make my own physics, which I can play with getting into eventually. Yeah. That Unreal seems like they're pretty clever about it, where they let people, exactly that. They let people play with the tools, have fun with them, but if I think there's any sort of monetary gain from them, then they're like, all right, you wouldn't be able to do this without us. We should have a slight piece of that pie, which I think is actually somewhat fair, given it's not an excessive piece. Sag, but I don't know. I enjoy it, but I don't consider myself an expert. No, I don't. I was sorry, exceptional. I don't consider myself exceptional at it compared to the 3D modeler modders, which can create things from scratch. Yeah. No, again, but to me, again, it's not that, right? You want what? You've been at this for 9 months, and you want to. You're yeah. Sorry, 9 months and wanting to be. This is the same fucking thing with Beastie. Beastie had an amazing achievement, which he got into guitar last year, which he killed. But he had the expectation of becoming like great at it, like fucking next level. And he's like, I'm only kind of competent at it at this point. Guys, your goals need to be reasonable. The fact that, yeah, again, you've exceeded what is essentially normal, I think, in a big way. You, Beastie, and Red. Especially with guitar. Guitar is fucking next level hard, especially if you haven't had a rhythmic background in any way. Like if you're a kid who was into band, you have this preconceived understanding, but to build that from scratch is an exceptional achievement. Yeah, Red says Havoc software is like 20,000, but to buy. Hell yeah, so that's why I'm saying just fucking get it. Just fucking grab it, man. I don't know, I just think it's nuts. The fact that like they're charging that much for shit, you're like, no. No, you're crazy. You're a psychopath. Not happening. Golly. Red says, I don't know. Already that. Hydrate from Love, thank you. Ooh. Ashblade says, shorts. But those shoes do look comfy. Oh, you are? What do you mean? What shorts? What do you mean shorts? Red says, Havoc is that much money? Hell no. Beast says, oh my god. Was not reaching. I mean, no, bullshit. This is crazy. You guys gotta be more generous with yourselves. Golly. It's funny because I know. Like, I know when I say something, I know the response. I know Beastie's gonna be like, I know you guys are gonna be like, I'm not good enough or some shit. Or like, it could have been better. And Jesus Christ. You want me to spend 20K? You're crazy. What? No, I'm saying pirate it. I'm saying pirate the software. I usually am not this forward with it. I'm saying if it's something that costs 20K, no. You could buy a car with that. No. Okay, especially when it's piratable. You fucking shitting me? What is going on? It's the same software. Like Sony Vegas Pro, I would have paid $200 for it and felt good about it. I felt like, yes, this thing helps me enable me create stuff. Actually, no, I would pay $150 because it never updates. I'd have to spend another $150 in 3 years because it'd be like version 50 at that point or something. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. God damn it. And then there's Adobe. You're like, hey, just give me $10 a week or a month or something, or maybe more, a month. You get access to all these things, but maybe 1 year we increase it by like some more, and then we get like basically, yeah, within like 3 years they get like the same amount. It would have made more sense for me to go Adobe, to be honest, but you know. PC says, my goal has been reached here. Azurblade says, I said you don't wear shorts, not shoes. Oh yeah, no, I don't wear shorts. No, I don't. I wear them when I work out, just because it's hot, but I don't like wearing them. I feel, again, it sounds weird, but like I feel the best I can feel in a sweater, but I have an exceedingly high heat threshold. So I have to get sweaters that are like paper thin, because yeah, I need that barrier to feel safe, okay? When my giblets are hanging out, basically my knees, no. I know this bothering you, man, golly. Lone says, draw the eye patch is what Grin is. Yes, don the eye patch, the peg leg, the stylish hat, and sail the cursed seas, all that. Cursed seas of meat spin and all these other horrible fucking oof. Man, dude, pirating has gotten so much better, man, golly. I mean, I remember back in the day when it was a 50-50. Either you're like, oh my god, I got such a good video, and then woof. Horrible shit. Lone says, I hate shorts as well. Me too. Let's go. Hate short game. I know there's always people who are walking around in shorts, and I'm like, you need to relax. You are too confident. I'm kidding. Astro Blade's like, what the fuck? Are you Again, there are definitely people. My brother's one of them who just love shorts. Wear shorts all goddamn time. Lol, I'm good. I tried before after other software. So I've tried before for other software and nearly got infested with viruses and hacked. Not going to, yeah, that's the good, that's true. I always have to quintuple check that shit. I think back in the day when I downloaded my not so legal version of Sony Vegas Pro, my editing software, which now I own, so I'm not entirely scum. No, you're not scum if you're today. You just, yeah. Anyways, point being is that what was it? I had to like check 15 YouTube comments to be like, is this not a thing? And it's funny because people would oftentimes be like, it's a virus, you son of a bitch. But it was just that their antivirus like seen anything as a threat or seen anything that like adjusted a file as a threat. It was tricky, but yeah. Astroblade says, we're going to work on your self-esteem issues in 2023. Are you talking to me or Lone? I imagine it's me. I don't have any self-esteem issues, actually. I quite love myself. But I will say, what do you call it? I enjoy feeling cozy and like something holding me. Yeah, I mean, maybe this is a beta thing to say, but I enjoy a hug, all right? And a sweater leaves me feeling hugged all the time, okay? Pants make me feel also embraced, okay? Shorts make me feel like abandoned, like some sort of cheap whore, okay? Sorry. By the way, these striking drills are insane. I measured my heart rate for when I did my attack bike, which is still insane because you're forcing yourself to do a lot of movement. But doing striking drill, man, you get to 80% of your heart rate at the end of it, which I go for 20 sets of 1 minute on, 30 seconds rest. And the end of that 30 seconds, or the end of that minute, sorry, is you get your heart rate up there. But it's one thing I gotta fix though is I keep doing striking drill. It's just hitting a dummy with a giant bat, basically, an indestructible bat. And one of the things I first heard about when I was doing the whole striking drills was impact is important because no one trains impact in martial arts with weapons. So they just kind of, it's like thinking you're punching something, but then like completely like just punching here instead of through them. So you're not actually hitting them with force. You're kind of like tapping them. Anyway, so there was a person when I was listening to like all these striking drill stuff, talked about the importance of impact and how actually your wrist, your bicep, your arm is trained to be able to handle that impact. So the more you train it, the more your joints will be able to handle that and be able to cradle that almost. Holy shit! Look at our new thing. It's in my eyes. But yeah, thank you so much, Astroblade. Astroblade says, subscribe to the tier 1 sub and do subscribe for 9 motherfucking months. Golly, Astroblade, thank you so much for the support. I appreciate you. It's not Astroblade, sorry. I'm so sorry it was Beastie. Ah, fucking damn it, the Astroblade was right above him. God fucking damn it. I'm so sorry, Beastie. Thank you so much. It was Beasties. Ah, fuck. I'm sorry, I seen Astroblade and then I seen the text. It got me. I apologize. Beastie, thank you so much for the support. Hey, Astroblade's out here supporting too, but thank you so much, Beastie. I appreciate the support, my boy. It's too sweet to me. Yes. What was I don't know what I was saying after the whole shit show happened. What was I saying? I don't know. Oh, striking drills. Yeah, so the short of it is I was doing these striking drills. They're great for your heart. You're getting your heart rate up there. But I've been neglecting non-impact drills, which is important because when if you hit hard and you recoil off of something, you basically can use that recoil to chamber another hit. But when you miss, which happens a lot usually, you have to then fight the momentum that you've generated and recoil it or guide it, I guess, to another strike or to a block. Weird shit. Anyways, I am neglecting that, and I need to fix that. I just want to talk to you guys about that because I thought it was crazy. That like impact is important, but also being able to redirect your own momentum is important too. Okay, let me ask you guys a question for the entire chat. I wanted to ask you guys this. Now that we've talked about your achievements this year, what is the thing that you most want next year? want? Doesn't mean do. Maybe do, sure. But yeah, what is not necessarily achieve? Achieve is a whole other thing. It's a goal. I want to know what you most want in the next year. Do you want to have a relationship? Do you want to love yourself more? Maybe do you want to achieve something within a business? Do you want to what do you call it? Do you want to spend more time with friends or family or whatever it be? What is the thing that you want from next year? Also, I gotta catch one on chat. Asterblade says shorts and a t-shirt. I know, there's that guy. New York blizzard. Yeah, I'm saying that impervious skin. Walking down the street like this. It's so cold. BC says fact. Nah, shorts. It's a good pair of slacks. What's slacks? What is that? What is slacks, like a pants? What is that? BC said, this is why I love hoodies, right? It's like a little warm hug. Ashblade says, I'm writing this note down for our first therapist. Hit me with it. Guy, I'm out there for you. Okay. Red says, either way, I appreciate the being appreciated. Yeah. Well, I guess it's not about being appreciated. It's a genuine acknowledgement of what you achieved. Lone says, how are you gonna make? They're right. It's not about that. What do you mean how? They're both blue. They're both blue, and one's right on top of each other. God damn you. Azure Blaze says, I don't want anything. Don't say that. They can't have that. You gotta want something. Do you want love? Do you want happiness? You gotta have some goal. Not even goal, sorry. What a want. Also, I feel really lost when I don't have any objective or hope or something that I want to move towards that's worth moving towards. Yeah. Lone says, I want big booba anime lady. That's not, well, no, the anime thing is impossible, but you could potentially become go-to places. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. But yeah, it's possible. BC says same. Y'all guys suck. Y'all guys are the worst. I'm like, hey, what do you interested in? They're like, tits. Actually, boobs, actually. Thanks, guys. Slacks are dress pants. Oh, I like dress pants too. Yeah, dress pants are solid. I also am privy to the workout pants that have a lot of stretch. You can also get some nice dress pants that also have a good stretch. Red says, for next year, short term, actually play Elden Ring. It's a good achievement, or a goal I want. Long term life goal, be a dad and have a family. That's a solid choice. That's a solid thing. I'm thinking the same thing, man. I'm in a, not the same thing, but to me, I wonder how much I am going to be turning 26 in a few weeks, we'll say. A few weeks. January is around my birthday. I'm not going to tell you the day, because you fuckers will always do weird shit that day. Anywho. But, my birthday's coming up, and it's the end of the year, and all that stuff. And to me, man, that's one of the things I always got to think about in the back of my head. So every year it's that thing. It's, you want certain things from life, whether it's a family or a partner or friends that you make a point to experience things with, etc. And yeah, it's like, are you, and I'm sure people who are in a similar but different experience than me are having a similar environment, or a similar perspective of it. But basically for me, it's like, I'm pursuing this thing that I love, this thing that gives me meaning and purpose in my life and makes me happy. But simultaneously, I want to succeed in that thing greatly. So I'm devoting myself in every second that I have to that thing. But I also would like a family one day. I would like a person. I would like a partner. I would like to have a house. I would like to have be financially secure in a big way. Not even a big way, in a reasonable way. I want to have stability, I guess. I think that's what most people deeply crave, is human connection, stability, financial or otherwise, and something worth giving your time to, a job, a dream, a purpose, a meaning. And I feel like I'm a little out of whack on the stability structure part of it. And it's tricky for me. I'm sure for a lot of people as well. I'm sure some people have one of the three or two of the three, but not the other. And that other is oftentimes the sacrifice that you have. If you want stability and a great career or whatever, you have to usually sacrifice a decent amount of your youth, etc. I guess to me, the thing that I kind of feel where like a lot of the weird emotions that I have spring up is, how do I put it? I wish that there was more of a yield. You know, it's like almost like, oh, I'm sacrificing parts of my youth, but I'm not sure if I'm yielding enough of for that sacrifice. You know what I mean? It's hard to describe. And again, it's like if I died tomorrow, I would change nothing. So I am happy. I feel meaningful and purpose in my life. I guess I crave success, and I guess success to me would be these weird metrics which maybe aren't indicative of success, but are indicative of stability, which is like monetary stability and like a person to build a life with, I guess. You know, it's funny because right now in this I've been seeing a lot in the YouTube recommendation feed stuff, which is like people have dubbed it, which I like a lot. It's called the manosphere. But it's like, you know how like there's a lot of fringe, crazy feminist stuff, which is like feminism at its core seems nice. We all treat everyone equally. It's a nice thing. I think for a lot of us has gotten corrupted in this weird way into something very different. Well, in that same way, people who were like, oh, I just kind of like, you know, these masculine things. Like the middle of this idea is pretty wholesome, all things considered. Like, you know, men treating each other with community and like reverence and all these things, and having like a place where you can be yourself and not feel judged and not feel all these things is a nice kind of like masculine, in like a bar or whatever it be. But the fringes of each thing has their corruptive force, which I guess, you know, for feminism it's this weird thing, and then of course for this manosphere it's that. It's like these people who try to dissolve people into these insular categories of like there's like 90% of women are all gold diggers, and it becomes really toxic and gross. But also there are a subsect of human beings that have a specific proclivity and interest, which is fine. I think the issue is that the people think, I don't know, it's tough because everything is a balance of like people are unique, but also people are extremely similar. And I think it's insulting and weird to live your life as if you know the game. You know what everyone is and their intentions and everything is, I think, pretty shitty. But anyways, that's a little maybe too inside baseball. But yeah, I see a lot of that recently. I've seen this redheaded girl who just popping off in like a lot of matter-of-fact ways. And it's funny because like there's clearly people who are delusional about what they deserve and what they want in life. It's okay to want stuff. It's another thing to say that I deserve this is a little egotistical, I think. But I don't know. Anyways, let me catch up with chat. Sorry, I got a little in my head there. Astroblade says, I want some more coffee. Be right back. God damn you, Astroblade. BC says, hating on my dreams. Those aren't dreams I'm hating on. Those are dreams I think are actually extremely attainable. They're also hard to apply, though. Like, you'd have to spend a lot of time in, well, not anime weirdness, but you could have a person with various physical attributes that you enjoy. And also, you just need a VR headset that's going to cost $500. Save for that. There's a lot of weird anime Harada games out there. And you'll have everything you could possibly want. Now, is it a living thing? No. You know, eventually maybe. I don't know, but your dreams can happen. Point being, VR is the future. On that. How dare you, all the wholesome as hell. I wish you luck on your goal, my friend, says Beastie. Thanks, Beastie. Lone says, I just wish you a happy birthday every day in January. Well, maybe we don't stream that day. Huh? Maybe then. Red says, yes, I'm not the human I've not had the human connection since high school, which was 2007. Suffice it to say, I'm extremely lonely. Yeah, no, I used to. I think genuinely, it's weird. It's hard for me to talk on that, Red, because it's gonna take a long time for me to. Maybe not. Let's not. We're gonna quickly explain this. I ever since I've left high school, I've lived at home with my parents. It's also, the housing market is a bitch, so I don't think many people are giving me hell for that anymore. But it's also just because I wanted to pursue this idea, to have a job that I enjoy making, and to create a community around that, I guess. I digress. Regardless, one of the things that's been apparent is I think I've genuinely, there's a few things that I think are genuinely freakish that has happened to me, and very few things, but these are the two. One of them is I've somehow been able to train a part of my body, which is my hand, which is like an eighth corrupted looking weird thing, to be able to throw 75 pounds in my small hand and press it above my head. And also take a 50-pound weight and swing it a ton of times. The fact that I've been able to, I didn't know you could strengthen muscles to muscles this small to that point. Probably should have. I've seen mountain climbers hang off of one finger, so there's stuff like that that's pretty obvious, but just I never thought I could do it. So that was one thing that was cool about me that I think I've achieved, which is neat. But the other thing that's been really abnormal about me is I have been so dead focused on my goal that I have very rarely left the house. Like, this is something maybe I shouldn't tell you guys because it's a little bit too, people might worry or whatever, but I think it's been like, I've went 3 months without like leaving the house continuously, and I don't interact with most people outside of people in my direct space, aka my parents or my brothers whenever we would get together on occasion, and even then I'm quite quiet, which is also why I crave and I enjoy this so much, I guess. But that's the incredible loneliness thing, I guess. So if there is anyone who I think can speak to how to help loneliness, and it's me, I guess, in this instance, or at least I can't say I can't say that in good and properly. What I can say is that to me, this is what has helped me. Because I remember there was maybe it sounds sad, but to really nail home this feeling of loneliness is one of the things that I think is both sad and really puts things into perspective. Is I used to remember there's this thing that I used to do is every day when I probably 2 years ago, every day I would go to sleep, I'd always look to the other side of my bed and think how nice it would be if there was a person there, a person that you could love, a person that had your back, etc. And every night I would go to bed. I'm gonna get teary-eyed. Oh, we'll get back into some things. I would imagine who they would be, basically. I would imagine if they were what race they would be, this and that, and eventually I just fell in love with all of the versions that they could possibly be, I guess. And that to me was a very beautiful thing, but it was in the depths of loneliness, what you truly crave is just the human spirit, I guess, a person that has your back and you could depend on, you could see every day. And that's a beautiful thing, but oftentimes was you only get to that if you really are fucking lonely. You really don't realize how suffocated you are for there to be a person in your life, etc. If you're like me, who loves people, I adore people, I also realize how fucking horrible people are and how corrupt and cruel and all that. I take it all in stride. I still think people are wonderful, and also the fact that they are so crazy and varied is incredible as well. Anyways, point being, is the one thing that helped me with that when those days were getting more and more and more apparent, and they were getting worse and worse and worse to the point where you genuinely feel sick almost because you're that alone. And it's weird because the one thing that helped me was two things. And again, I don't know if this will help Red, probably won't. It probably was just a me thing. But this is how I kind of got through that and found myself on the absolute other side of the spectrum, which is, if you could answer this question, I think you've succeeded in this. But if you were alone and there was nobody in this world, how long could you go? So you're basically classic, everyone gets sucked out of the world, etc. How long could you live in a world where it was just you? And to me, I'm at the point where I could say I would live until I died, until I was absolutely the oldest I could possibly be. yeah, I would try to fight for every scrape of life, because you truly find, and this is the thing that's interesting, is I hate the word because I think it has a lot of misunderstood conception, which is self-love. I think people misunderstand self-love in a big way, and they don't understand that, yes, there's a part of self-love that is like, I love myself. But there's also a part of you that has to acknowledge that there are things that you love within others quite a lot. So for instance, this is getting down a whole ass tangent, but one of the things that everyone will experience, hopefully, and also not hopefully, is hopefully you had decent parents or decent grandparents or someone that you would love, that truly you would love. All of them will at some point pass away. So there's a horrible prospect that every human being is connected over, this prospect that you will eventually lose your parents. And it's horrible, because if you had a good dad, if you had a good mom, that's going to rip you up in a horrible way you can't even describe. But it also gives you the opening, to me, that is like 90% of life's question, and this is my belief, and we're getting too hard into what I truly intrinsically believe. I don't really go on to this, so probably this will be the last time I talk about it. But the idea is that eventually everyone will lose their parents, so you should try to, as soon as you possibly can, acknowledge the greatness within your people around you. For me, at this point, it's your parents. Eventually, your dad's not going to be there, so you need to understand how you can be a good dad to yourself. You need to understand how you can be a very kind, the best aspects of your mother, the one that cradled you, that comforted you, that told you were good enough. You need to have that. And then building off of this theory, this philosophy that I've been thinking about a lot ever since I was been alive, is the idea that, okay, well, what happens if you extended that one more step? What would it mean to be a good son? What would it mean to be a good friend? And to dissolve all those things, to acknowledge all the versions of that, to acknowledge all of those things. What would it mean to be a good coach? What would it mean to be a good boss? What would it mean to be a good student? What would it mean to be a good employee? What would it mean to be a charismatic person? What would it mean to be all of these things? What would it be to be someone who's really responsible? And if you could do this, if you can understand what it means to be a good father, and what it means to be that person for yourself, and this is funny because it all comes from selfishness, which is we're all going to lose our parents one day, so you need to learn how to depend on yourself. But the beautiful thing about, at least to me, this thought process is that eventually you'll land on becoming a whole person in a weird way. You'll arrive at immense self-love because you know how to love others. You know how to be a good friend because you've considered and thought about how you would be a good friend to yourself. You'd thought about how you'd be a good mother to yourself. It sounds weird. You'd think about what it means to be a good girlfriend to yourself. You also know when another person is out of alignment from something that is entirely reasonable. And that's often the times you come to, is like, okay, well, if I want to be a good, if I want to achieve something, like say, what would it mean to be a good coach? Okay, well, it would mean you'd keep pushing yourself and you would constantly acknowledge what worked and improve on what didn't. But then the little voice of your mother might also chime in when you're being really cruel with yourself, being the coach that says, keep pushing forward, keep aspiring to get more, keep doing this. Eventually the voice that you've also developed, that is your mother, being like, hey, you've done enough. Calm down. You're about to break. It's okay. I got you. Take a minute. It's okay to strive, but you're at the point where you're going to fall apart. Breathe. Take time. Enjoy your time. You can enjoy this moment. Go off and watch anime. Go play some video games. Breathe. And then when that's done, then you'll get the coach back in. And eventually you'll develop this like multi-perspective version of everything. And to me, that is, it sounds weird, but that's how I beat loneliness in a weird way. And no, you still feel lonely, but like I'm happy with who I would be, essentially. I'm happy if I was the last person on the planet, basically. I'm even more happy because I can truly acknowledge the wonder in you guys, the wonder in my friends, the wonder of people who give me a single second of time. That's just like the wonderfulness of this weird philosophy. I call it philosophy. I don't know what the fuck it is. To me, it's like it's a dark, disturbing thought experiment of everyone that you love will eventually die, so you should learn how to appreciate them, acknowledge what they do wonderfully, and then try to embody them as much as you possibly can. But that to me is how I feel like I beat loneliness. And also I feel like I found like a love for human beings, I guess, and a love for like, I think I could go up to anyone and genuinely find the wonder in them, and make them happy, and make them feel important, and make them feel kind, and make them feel worthy, and make them feel interesting. Because I know I do that for me. And also, when you be in all these things for yourself, you can not only know when someone else is doing something that they shouldn't be to you, but you can say that's fine. Like, I see a lot of people who get into relationships or friendships where they develop this like deep-seated need for this person, and that person knows that and leverages that against them. This is something that constantly happens within relationships where people are like married for 2 years, where the wife will ask to cheat on them or be in some sort of weird position where it hurts them entirely, but the idea that they would have to go find another person is so destroying that they let those things happen, and then they just become more and more miserable, and everyone becomes more and more miserable. But if you are like, no, that's fine, I at the end of the day I have myself, and I believe that I could find the wonder in another person, then that's something that you could go for. You don't need anything from anybody because you know you can have that from yourself. Now also, this is a nice thought and process, but this is for I think 5 years, every day before I went to bed, I would do that. I would write up, what does it mean to be a good father? What does it mean to be a good friend? And I would write down all the things that I would say. And then also, it's funny because when you understand what it means to be a good friend and what it means to be a good partner, what it means to be a good father, they intrinsically play with each other to show you that you're expecting way too much of this person. You're expecting way too much of this. This is the real perspective that a dad has to deal with. This is the real perspective that a son has to deal with, and this is the kind of truth in between. Anyways, I don't talk about my beliefs at all, nor what my chain and necklace mean, but that's akin to a lot of it. Anyways, let's talk about something else. Sorry about all that. But yeah, it's one of those deep things about loneliness, and that's how you kind of beat it. Or at least that's how I beat it, which I'm sure is confusing and not entirely helpful, but I entirely think it's a wonderful goal to want to have a family one day. I think also it's a goal that too few people find out too late that that's something that they desire, which is sad. But also, it's never too late. It's true also. Adoption's a thing. Again, you don't be too hard on yourself is like the number one thing. And just try to find people and make people feel important and loved and all those things. I think you'll do great. Astroblade says, "Do you just mean in person?" Yes, I've had human connection since high school. Red says, "Yeah, in person. 99 of my human connection contact since high school has been on the internet." Yeah, me too. I haven't had much outside of my family. All the friends, all the man. I also think that, especially having gone through that whole experience, I had 2 good friends in my whole life, like really good friends. Everyone else was very. It was rough. It was rough. People weren't like you guys, or even like half of what you guys are. People were very. Situational caring, which is rough, but yeah. Ashwin says, "Oh yeah, I get that. Living through the pandemic certainly does make that. It doesn't make that any easier." Yeah. Well, I think I've been at this for like 8 years, probably, or maybe less. Maybe like it's been 6 years. But it's also like I've gone months without talking to anybody, except for my parents. Which this is the other thing that's fun is because you eventually, at least with this thought process, my theory is that I think everyone will come to the same conclusion of like eventually you come to this love for human beings and the soul of a person, I guess. That you'll eventually just want to stir that in everything around you. Like, for instance, my family, my relationship with my parents has improved drastically ever since I've been doing this. Because I genuinely want to hear from them. I want to understand what they're thinking. I accept that I may not agree with everything, and I just try to understand their perspective. Because they're dealing with all these kinds of things, you know? Red says, "Yep." Red says, "Same. Living with my parents since high school, but the time I wanted to move out, Dad got sick and passed. Oh no! And Mom has not lived alone for like 60 years. So here I stay for now." Yeah, that to me it makes complete sense, Red. The only thing that I think that people need to I think one of the things I tell myself, and I think one of the things probably Red would consider maybe telling himself, is that you do not. this is really helpful for me, by the way. Thank you for letting me think through all these things. One of the things I think is a lie that you tell yourself is that, oh, well, no one would want to be with a person who's in this current circumstance that I'm in. No one would want to, be with me because of X, Y, Z. Maybe I don't have enough money. Maybe I don't have enough X, Y, Z. All these things. But then you see there's plenty and thousands of examples of people who get out there, or again, doing the kind of thing I'm talking about, which is just trying to find wonderful people and talk to them and make them feel good and important and valued and interesting and funny and playful, basically. We play with human beings in life, etc. And if you approach life that way, you tend to find other people that were in the same position as you. Maybe they have a low self-esteem because of X, Y, Z. But they have a great career, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe they have a great career, they're super independent, but they're deeply, they're really not a person that seeks out fun. And maybe you're good at having fun. And these are the weird, there's thousands of interchanging locks that you can do. I think that people oftentimes lie to themselves and say, well, I'll wait until I have this under control. I'll wait until I have, I'm out of the house. No, I'll wait until I have a this much salary. I'll wait until I get enough confidence, or I tell myself that I'm going to talk to this person, or I go to a bar or something like that. I don't think that's how you find people that are wonderful. I think you find people who are wonderful by approaching everyone as having the potential to be wonderful. But I could also be insane. But I tend to think I'd hedge my bets on me in that one. You don't have to. I understand. I'm just talking. BZ says, bruh, I'd last forever. Astrolate says, you're telling me my crappy social anxiety would be gone my crippling social anxiety would be gone forever. Yeah, man, it's funny because I think social anxiety, I think, is apparent, because even with me, even though I like people a lot, but it's always just the initial hit that's the thing that gives you anxiety, usually. I think if you just lie for a quick sec to yourself and just say, I'm just going to go up and talk to 3 people, and that's it, I think you'd actually realize, maybe 3 people is a lot, because people will just get objective based, and then they'll just quickly be like, fuck it, I'm going to talk to 3 and then leave. But I'm going to try to have a genuine, find the wonder in one person, and then I'll leave. That's a pretty long development thing. But yeah. Astroblade says, you're telling me, Red says, I fear I would not last long if I was the only person left. I don't love myself enough and crave companionship too much currently. Yeah, no, again, I definitely think that's reasonable. I think it's reasonable to, again, when you go down the road of trying to be all that you can be that for yourself, a loving parent, a loving father, loving all these things, whatever, you'll eventually just fall in love more with people. I think it's hilarious because to me, I oftentimes the reason why I didn't talk to people about this weird theory I have, this, I don't know what you'd call it, a philosophy, I guess, is because to me it sounded really edgy of your parents will die one day, so the only thing you can depend on is yourself. But it's funny that in that really edgy, weird, horrible version of my idea, or not my idea, everyone's idea, I imagine people have had this before, that eventually you would arrive at the opposite of selfishness, true selfishness, trying to be all that you can be for oneself, as you arrive at selflessness, about this love for others, and this knowing how to take care of yourself, and knowing how to fill yourself and fulfill yourself and make yourself feel worthy and all these things. And of course, you ebb and flow, and you sometimes are not as good as other times, etc., which makes sense as well. The one thing that's helped me recently that I've started doing, just because we're talking about everything right now, for me, who's kind of really, I'm kind of lost in terms of I was really driven in where I wanted to do for goal-wise on YouTube, and recently we've been trying a lot of stuff, and I like the stuff that we're doing, but I still haven't been able to resonate it like I have in other times. The one thing that's helped me a lot is at the end of the day, this may sound corny to some of you guys, sorry, but at the end of the day, I replaced my 100 live theory, or 1,000 live theory, which is what I described, the weird thing I just described to you guys, which is if you had to become a whole person, you would have to live 1,000 lives, and living 1,000 lives is seeing the perspective of how everyone ought to be, and then knowing the complexity of how hard it is to be kind, to not be stressed out, to not be overwhelmed, and you'll just treat everyone with grace and kindness in that way. Anyways, I replaced that with this, which is it's called the Stoic Journal is what it's usually called, but you start with writing down everything that you could improve that day, and everything that you like. Did you make yourself better? What did you improve upon? All that kind of stuff, which is a little too could be too malicious if you're bad with yourself. If you're constantly like, I could have done more, I'm bad. That could get a little rough. But the other thing, which to me is I think where the value comes from, which is if you had died today, what would you have done differently? It's the kind of Stoic philosophy, memento mori. I'm sure you guys have heard about it. From Unus Annus and things like that. But it's if you were to have a reset, if you were able to live this day again because it was your last day, what would you do differently? And it's funny because everyone always thinks that your brain would go to something weird like I'd rob a bank, or I would spend so much money, or I would do XYZ with this, debauchery, all that stuff, whatever it be. And sure, you might say that for the first couple times or whatever, but eventually you'll arrive at like, I wish I would have had more fun with the commonality of my day. So I still need to go into work because there's people at my work that depend on me. But I would have had a funner time at my work. I would have enjoyed those moments of boredom more. I would have done more. I would have told my parents I love them, I appreciate them. I would have told my friends how wonderful they are. Like you start to have this reverence for life, and honestly a reverence for wanting to experience life in a wonderful way. Like this idea of wanting to make the most of that day. It doesn't have to be like I spend so much money, I give my arm and my leg or whatever. I would just wish I would have appreciated the simpleness of that day, the quietness of a moment. I wish I would have let that sink in more. And that's a wonderful thought experiment, I think, to do, especially every day. But the second one that I really like, and if you guys don't know anything about me, I'm a very goal-driven, I have to move towards something, I want to achieve things kind of person. So this one to me is my favorite, but it stems from the fucking live, die, repeat thing a little bit, which is if you were, this is a weird thought experiment, but if you were stuck in a time loop and had to live this day until you got it right, what would that be? And that to me was really helpful. That was really cool too, which is like, I would have done this today. I would have woke up early, gotten that done, started immediately editing on this, but I still would want to enjoy my day. So especially I do this right after I do the you would die and live the same day over again, or it's a premise. But what would you have to do in order to get this day right? And you would go through that, and again, it oftentimes comes down to the same conclusion, which is like, I wish I would have achieved things and laid them out better. I also wish I would have set aside time to really have fun and enjoy the day. But also, I wish I would have just enjoyed a simple moment more. I wish I would have just, like, something as simple as drinking my coffee. I wish I would have slowed down, made sure I enjoyed it. I wish I would have laughed harder. I wish I would have, when I was streaming, I wish I would have acknowledged this person that's been in our community for such a long time more. I don't think I gave them enough credit. I wish I would have done this and that. And you're not like beating yourself up. It leaves that pretext to me. It's not like you're like, I suck, I'm the worst. It's next time I'm going to do this. Tomorrow I'll live my life right. Tomorrow I'll apply these things. I'll live that day right. And if you continue to do this, which is the biggest thing with a lot of this shit, I think, is so many people will do it twice and walk away. But if you do it multiple times, if you do it like for a year straight, it's hard not to slightly nudge yourself in those directions, to slightly be like, looking back on it, I acknowledge my friend's greatness more than I did ever. And I'm happy I did that. I think I'm better for having done that. Anyway, sorry. It's a lot. Let's talk about something else. That's what I'm currently doing. That's my current therapy session, I should say. A therapeutic activity, which has been quite wonderful to me. I fear I would. Oh, right. Red says makes sense. Sadly, I just feel like I'm a driftwood on a river, just going the flow by the no, see, but that's the thing, Red. I think that thought experiment. It's funny you just said that, because that's exactly what the thought experiment to me I think would be the best for, is the what would I have to do, what could I have done today that it's weird to say unless I say it the way that I would phrase it, which is, if you were stuck in a time loop and had to live this day until you got it right, what would it look like to you? What would set you free? And a lot of times it's like, okay, because there's these things that, like, you should do, you want to do, that would make you feel better, but you don't do because you're not asking yourself the right question. Like, oftentimes it's mean. It's like, what could have you have done today but you didn't because you're shit or something horrible, instead of being like, well, in order for this day to be right, I would have had to enjoy my time. I would have had to made sure I achieved some things, and I also would have made sure I had enjoyed the moment, essentially. And I wish I would have probably had to been nice to people. It's funny because, like, my favorite scene in every movie ever, my favorite trope in every thing of this trope, is the Groundhog's Day last day, the day that they break the cycle, where it's just like, holy shit, is it just beautiful? And it's oftentimes, it's not crazy. It's not like this, like, I saved 6 people. It's like, I just lived this day and made the most of it, basically. I enjoyed the stillness. I enjoyed the people around me. I achieved what I wanted to achieve, and I wasn't cruel to myself because I didn't achieve X, Y, Z or something, Alone says, also Grin, guess what? I'm on episode 5 of Gematria. Did you get to the what is it called? Minotaur moment yet? Have you got to the Minotaur moment yet? Because there's a Minotaur moment at the beginning, but have you gotten to the Minotaur? I think it's maybe episode 7. Dude, that moment to me is instilled in my brain so cleanly. Oof. Alone says, who wants to get a second chance at life to rob a bank? Yeah. Well, also Alone says ReZero, kinda, yeah. The only thing with ReZero is it has like a pretty rough go of it, where it's like you're trapped in a fantasy land where people are trying to kill you and the woman you love, and it's like, well, no, I'm just saying, like yeah, it helps you, it puts things into the right perspective, I think, of like being stuck in a loop until you got it right. Is that got it right isn't just void of, like, at least it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be completely egotistical of like, oh, I should have gotten this project done. I should have developed my skill in this way. I should have done this. It's like, no, you getting it right would be having a wonderful day and having a wonderful life of that day. It'd be talking to your friends. It'd be setting aside time to enjoy something. It'd be slowing down so you can enjoy something. It'd be making the most of these simple moments. And it's funny because the more you write those down, the more you, like, go through those paces, the more I think your brain starts to realize what really matters and what how you should perceive life, And it's funny because it's the idea. That idea stems, yes, from ReZero and Groundhog's Day, but it also stems mainly from one of my favorite romantic rom-com movies ever, called About Time, which is the ending of the film has this beautiful ending which basically antithesizes the main character's power, which he basically can go back in time. So his dad, on his deathbed, gives him an objective, basically, and he says, go through your daily life, then reset time of that day. So reset the day. But this time, live the day as best you can until you can get it right. And the takeaway of this is that eventually the guy stops going back in time. He just lives every day to the best of his ability possibly can, because he's built up the tool set of knowing what that would be. It would be laughing, it would be having fun, it'd be smiling, it'd be taking time to enjoy life, it'd be cherishing the people around you, it'd be giving people hugs and taking the despair on the chin and making the most of what you have left, and reclaiming what you can, and all these things. It'd be kind of like unbridled optimism. Which is tough, by the way. I all of these are nice ideas in theory, but are harder to achieve. I'm aware of that, but I think it's something that would improve over time by having pursued life in that way, I guess. No, Lone says, nah, I'm not at that part yet. Where Lily and Belle meet and she steals his knife. Yeah, man, it's rough. For some, I'm wondering. I want to wait to ask you about some stuff in that show because the stuff will happen. But I am curious how you feel about characters, to say the least. Because, yeah, it's Bell's a cool protagonist. Is all I'll say. He's like one of the few times where like I'm watching this. There's an anime I see currently, man. That's called Beast Tamer. It just seems like very run of the mill type of fun show, but like nothing crazy. Doesn't seem like it's gonna change the game. Even though I love the summoner archetype, and I will definitely watch that show. It looks okay. It looks good. It looks good. You know, not great, good. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong. Red says season 4 is the new season of DMACHA. Yeah. There's a new one coming out this. I think it's I think it's this year. Yeah, there's a new season of DMACHA coming out, which is finishing off the arc that's currently going on, which apparently is the best arc in the entire series, which is insane because DMACHA season 1 is so good. So it'll be interesting to see how good this arc is. People are saying it's that good. Lone says Beast Tamer, you mean waifu? Yeah, it's kind of like that. But regardless, what was I referring to? In that anime, I keep seeing like Crunchyroll dubs clips of it, and the main character seems very harem protagonist, which is like doesn't really earn people who like him that much to have liked him. You know, like he kind of saves people. I get it, but it's not like in DMACHA. Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything for you, Lone, but like the scene with Lily is like, oh, this makes sense. Why you give a shit about him? Yeah. Red says DMACHA. Yeah, man. What do you call it? I can. To me, and then there's so much. I think I want to wait for Demon. I want to watch Skeleton Knight, but then I think the next thing I'm going to jump into, at that point, we should be finished with Welcome to Demon School Irumaka. And we have so much. We have so much to watch. I'm so behind, and I love it, because there's so much to do, and they're all great, and I just can't wait. But DMACHA, man, is one of those ones that I adore. Like, it's up there for, like, it's always the one, when you have a show that you love so much, but you always forget to put it up in your top 5 most fucking badass, fantastic, resonates with you so deeply kind of shows. That's one of them. You know what I mean? Although it makes me sad, man. I really hope that anime. I really hope. I'm more invested in Welcome to Demon School Irumaka's relationship status, which is cringe, but hey, it is what it is. I really hope Clara wins, basically. But in DMACHA, I really, really hope Hestia fucking wins. They have a moment where it kind of wins. But I want her to fucking win. Because it's not even close. Alright? Not even close. Who is best person? Alright? Not a harem. Alright? Goddamn you guys. It's a harem. Oh, my nose. Lone says, Grin, you know I don't care about... No, I know, but this is one of those moments where it's a nice moment. It's a nice moment. Says, I have never done that. Done what? What have you never done? What do you mean? What is that referring to? God damn it. Did I say something and shit happened? They did a really good job with Lily, actually. I used to think, because we were basically stuck on a cliffhanger with season 1 for such a long time with DMACHA. That it was like, okay, but then in the subsequent seasons they really made it like, okay, no, she's good, she's fine, she's earned all of the trust. Oh, my back. Oh, sorry. Oh god, oh my god. Okay, I want to talk to you guys about this. Holy shit. I uploaded something forever. I haven't uploaded anything in the Share Grin channel, or Grin recommendation channel, sorry, for such a long time. I finally uploaded something in there. I found this like channel called Manhwa Recaps, which there's been a huge glow up of like recap channels, which holy fuck, how is that not getting absolutely eaten up by DMCA? Anyways, but regardless, I found this channel that recaps manhwa, which is like a Korea manga. I believe that's what it is. And I found 2 that are amazing. Also, God, manhwa are just fucking gorgeous. They're just like beautiful, like the most color you've ever seen in the best way possible. Anyways, one of the ones I uploaded seemed like just a fucking cooler version of Black Clover. It looked awesome. Uh, the idea is that this guy gets like killed. He's a hero. He's part of like the hero squad. He's like a berserker kind of fighting style. He dies and gets reincarnated as this like kid in the same world like 200 years later. So it's not quite the normal like isekai weirdness. It's just like a reincarnation story. But this main kid looks awesome. He looks so fucking cool. He's like a white-haired kid that's fucking cut, like shredded like crazy, with orange eyes. And honestly, to explain the plot of that one is too much, but it's a lot of like the hero party split into 4 groups. The main guy who killed the Demon King had like a branch family, and the kid who got reincarnated is one of those branch families, and he's just awesome. It's just, the manhwa does a much better job. It's set in that weird synthetic robot voice, which I hate, but it's still, you get your fix. But the one I thought Lone would like the most, or Beastia actually, it is a story of a dude who gets isekai. I know, hilarious. Dude gets isekai'd by the demons, essentially, not the heroes or the humans. He gets isekai'd by the demons, and he has this like sexy demon wife. And hey guys, I'm not out here saying shit, but she looks awesome. She looks super, oh god, yes. Her design is peak. The demon wife, essentially. But anyways, the premise is he gets pulled into the demon realm, all that stuff. There's a prophecy that he's gonna be a bad bitch. The demons get fucking like wiped out because they like revive him at the last part. I'll let you know in a minute here. Let me just finish the premise. So she gets, because like the demons are dying and she gets her like demon power taken away from her, she becomes kind of human-esque. And the main character, they summon him right in the middle of like a battle, like where the humans are winning essentially. So the human guy immediately shows himself to be like better than 80% of protagonists in these stupid isekai shows. Okay, where they like retreat, and the demon girl is with him, and at this point she's basically a humanoid looking person, because she had like fucking scaled legs and like crazy horns and shit and a tail and all that stuff. Now she's just a very big booba, white-haired girl, essentially, that has like real fucking intimidating look. Anyways, point being, they basically, whilst trying to escape, get pulled upon by soldiers and whatnot, by like the people who are sieging them. And the main character immediately is just like, "Oh, my bad, this is my wife. Yeah, we kind of were just trying to escape because we see all the things. We were held prisoner, actually." And then he actually forces the demon queen, which is the person who summoned him, to like bow. So he like pushes her head into the ground, like, no, we're gonna die. And of course she hates this because she's all like fucking bad bitch, etc. The demon queen. But anyways, they end up getting saved by this random white-haired guy. They end up bringing these two to the human capital. And they're both just trying not to get caught, essentially. So they go on with this lie about them being husband and wife. So they're sleeping in the same bedroom and stuff. And of course, it's a show, so they develop feelings, all that. But the cool takeaways of this thing is there's a fucking arena arc, which is sick. So they're trying to leave the city basically to get to their allies to like rebuild their kingdoms, and also the human kingdoms. There's like a king child, a child who's a king, who's nice, but he's getting stomped on by the generals who are just like intimidating him basically. There's good people, there's bad people in this community. There's lots of lies happening, but it's not like anxiety inducing. Anyways, the reason why I like this show is because the demon girl is like giga good at everything and powerful, and the main character kind of sucks. And I thought when I was listening to this that they were gonna pull some shit where the main guy was like a strategist. That was his thing, which makes sense of like the demon army, the demon queen pulling this hero that's gonna like change the tide of battle, him being a strategist and etc. It's not. Eventually, within in this fucking awesome arc that just seems so fun to watch, the main character, basically they go around to each, because they're in this human capital, so they go around to the college to learn how to fight, essentially, because yeah, and they go around to each like college fantasy world location. So like one is the swordsman guild, one is the mages guild, one is the whatever guild, one is the cooking guild, etc. But there's one guild that is the art or the smithing guild. But in this world, smithing, because humans were frail and couldn't keep up with the dwarves, they developed a different way of doing smithing, basically. And guess what it is? It's art. So you draw an image with some sort of like pen with like gold inlay, or this magic inlay, and that allows you to create stuff. So then you basically draw on the ground, you hit your hand on it, and then it makes it. So the main character, who has no magic ability, so he can't learn really magic, ends up learning to be a craftsman. This is a show that is better. It's like Offeretta, except much better. Okay, I like Offeretta, but this is much better. Anyways, so he's drawing so he ends up doing that. So he's basically a craftsman. So he ends up drawing a bunch of shit when he gets the pen, and he's like all over their like room is a bunch of like statues of the main girl, her friends, her companions, of like a tank, of like an attack chopper in the middle of their living room, because this noble basically like protected them and saves them because he thinks the main character looks like his brother, so he's kind of like out keeping them safe. All that stuff, weird, a lot of stuff happening. Anyways, but he starts making all this stuff, and it's all out of stone, so it's not actually like a thing, it's just the outline of it. So then he gets a bunch of like tutorial stuff, and it's super satisfying having like this bald gentleman who talks about how like there are various pens. One is the moon pen, one is the fire pen, and they all have different proclivities to them, and different like bonuses, and they all look so cool. Like they make pens look fucking like, oh my god, it's so sick. Anyways, so then the main character basically finds out the rules of smithing, essentially, in this way. So anything that you can understand the complexity of, you can create. So he ends up riding a bike to his class, and he gets his teacher, who's like this giga-jacked bald guy with a mustache, to ride his bike. He's like falling over, getting beaten up by it, but he finally gets it, like rides it, and he's able to do it. I think at that point it breaks because it was made of stone or something weird. Anyways, so they're like, holy shit, you developed this. And then he explains to him basically how incredibly valuable his inlay that he's drawing stuff with is. And the main teacher just gives him another one because he's created something so cool. So he just gives him another one, and it's extremely expensive. He's like this forging inlay that is used to make stuff. Anyways, so he sees that the cost of this inlay, this like drawing stuff, this ink you could call it, keeps getting more and more pricey. So eventually the main character, it sounds crazy, but like he ends up understanding, and the guy ends up explaining to him that if you can understand how something is created, then you can make it. So he ends up going to the library, getting a fuck ton of like whatever their current base technology is, which is like steam engines. So he looks at how to make a steam engine. He understands the complexity of how to make a steam engine. So then he makes like a classic steam engine powered car. And they basically, there's a lot of stuff that happens, but long story short, the main character goes to this mine where they're developing this inlay, and the main guy, his teacher, comes out of the mine with like a cart full of rocks that are glowing, and he's covered in blood, and he's just basically, and then the people who are supposed to watch the mine say like, you can't take that stuff, that's ours. And he's basically like, those enemies aren't even that hard, why are you charging us so much for this? And they're like, fuck you. And of course it's like there's some redheaded fuck who's, sorry redheads, you always get done dirty in these goddamn animes, but it's some sort of ginger fuck who keeps harming, or keeps like trying to screw over the main protagonist, and is like the son of this giga fucking powerful general who's the corrupt guy in the castle. I'm doing a horrible job, but anyway, point being is, I'm gonna tell one more thing. There's a huge awesome arena arc in the show, which is awesome. Okay, it's like Hunter x Hunter level of like creative and fun. Not as creative, but still pretty close. Who doesn't love an arena arc done well? Anywho, one of the things that's really cool is the main character he creates like a Gundam basically with his stupid technology, because of course he does. So he creates a Gundam enemy thing and just starts wrecking people. He immediately becomes like comparable, like pretty strong, not godly but strong. Kind of like we're traveling through a blizzard. Let me make a car that like a classic, what do you call it? A classic military truck bed to drive us through this stuff. He does that. People think he's great and all that stuff. But regardless, one of the things that's cool about it is in the very beginning, as he's starting to like develop this, and as inlay, they drop the price of inlay because they beat the guy. Anyways, I need the name down. Says Beastie. One more sec. So the main character starts selling a ton of his inventions. He sells bikes. He sells like clothing things. It's nothing crazy. He just sells some stuff. But he sells things that like would be useful, but also not abundantly like needed and would like descale the environment. So he's making stuff like bikes are for sale and etc. Anyways, you get to this arena arc where the reason why they're trying to get to the arena is because when you win the arena battle, they give you like this special title that allows you to leave the city. Otherwise you can't because they're in war. The main character and the demon queen want to leave so they can get back to the demon people. Anyways, so in that arc, he needs to power up big time. So there's like this called useless wood, which is like this indestructible wood, but no one can break it, no one can find use for it. The main character, Giga Big Brain, figures out how to use it. And the coolest part about this, because they get so, the whole reason why I want to tell you guys about this show is because they get so clever with the way they do things. So like Ofrietta kind of always, it's like a isekai where the guy just is like a smith essentially, but it always dissolves into like guy has a railgun sniper, go boom. Guy has a hand cannon, go boom. Guy has a chain gun, go brr, etc. Whereas in this show, everyone has like weird fucking lineage powers to where like they can't die normally. So what the main character comes up with is he turns out was really clever and smart. So he basically traps a person in a microwave. Like he creates a microwave, traps them in it, turns on the microwave, fucking boils them alive. Like shit like that, which is crazy, nonsense, but fucking kind of crazy, kind of awesome. Anyways, the last thing I wanted to tell you was the creativeness of how they stack advantage in the show that's really cool. So the main character, you see that he's like, oh my god, he's selling a bike, he's selling all this stuff, and he's like doing all that. And eventually the guy tells him that like if he needs a power up, so he ends up showing him that if you draw magical circles like runes on a piece of paper, you can use magic. You can use like N tier magic, but it costs a fuck ton of inlay, and inlay is still expensive because it's only can be found in mines. So the main character is like, oh okay, that's fine. But people are like, how the fuck is he having so much inlay? How does he have so much like ink essentially when it's so expensive? And it's because in the beginning of the premise you see him sell a bunch of shit and the guy drops it. Oh yeah, by the way, he's like a millionaire. Yeah, he sold all of these inventions like bikes and like stoves. That like he's a absolute billionaire. So he's just burning money like crazy, but it's also cool to scale it in a way because he has a capacity for his inlay, and he's basically like this interesting purple-haired guy with it sounds crazy, but it's like this tube on his back that like changes his pens, which is crazy. And it's pretty satisfying. And the arena arc, the way it ends and the way he wins is so fun. I'll give me a sec. I'll quickly. I'll post the thing. Let me put you on big screen mode. Where is big screen mode? Where is it? Where the fuck is the thing? There we go. Is that right? Is that right? That's right. Okay, good. Let me find it. Where is it? Do not judge me for its thumbnail, okay? We're also way too close. I will also post it into the share group recommendation tab. You might judge me. You might judge me. I can't show you on the screen. Because yes. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I I should save some of my vocal strength for the video we can maybe make, because my voice is starting to go. Astroblade says, "Look at that glorious side profile of my chin, just my beard. Look at that beard, my guy. Stop it, stop it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I might leave you with that because I need to make this damn video. But I'm not sure if I don't really talk about my New Year's goals. I guess I'll have to wait to the video. But it helped me talking through some things, you guys. Yeah. Yeah, I guess the main takeaway to me is improvement. The best way I could describe how I feel about this year and the potential achievements maybe that exist is that, what do you call it? I wrote it down here. I said, improvement takes time, and time has a cost. Best way I could describe how I kind of feel about this year is it was a wide awakening of holy shit. I know what I need to do to improve. I think if I keep persisting in it, I can improve and I can get what I want out of it, but it's going to take a lot of time. And time has a cost. When you're younger, it has less of a cost. But when you're starting to get older, like Red kind of mentioned, like the idea of wanting a family one day and then wanting a partner and wanting all these other things and wanting to have stability, like monetarily, it's a cost, you know? And it's fine if it all works out, but it's also one of those things where it's like I'm under no illusion that the world is perfect and that you could not be one of this percentage that tries their hardest and doesn't get anything. I still think it's a life worth living, having pushed towards a future that you could have something that you'd want, you know? So, yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you kindly for your time. Ooh, that's my phone telling me to eat because it's 30:40. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm off to go make this video. Thank you kindly for your time. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day. Tomorrow, we will be playing Bone Lab on a VR game, which I feel like I might get juiced and want it. Enjoy your food. Thank you, Astral. I was going to say one more thing. I guess it's looking like we're playing Blade and Sorcery with maybe the same thing we did last time, which is like maybe at the very end we'll play some Dark Tide or Tower Fantasy. If you guys want me to play either, let me know. Because we could do both probably. But yeah, we'll play a little bit of Blade and Sorcery. We'll try to play through some of it. I don't know how the game works exactly, so you'll have to be patient with me. Maybe I should try to do a little bit off screen so I can just know what the hell's happening. But yeah, hopefully I can see you guys again tomorrow. And wish me luck on making this video. I'll try not to get too sappy. And thank you kindly for your time. Hopefully I can see you again, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And also, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that 2023 is everything you could possibly hope it could be. And well done on 2022. Goodbye, my friends.